The Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal continuing to face challenges, and Microsoft may be having to make promises that is going to make the deal, in some people's minds, less appealing than when it first debuted as an announced thing. We're going to be breaking down all the latest information about the FTC's involvement, the EU, as well as this 10-year potential offer that we are hearing about. If you like these types of streams and discussions, remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the content. We always start in this sort of scene. I give you the quickest breakdown I can so you don't have to go searching for the information. This is a Reforge update. The Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal is continuing to face challenges, and we now have new information about the FTC, the EU, and a potential 10-year promise to PlayStation as they continue to battle and draw questions about Call of Duty. If you like these very quick updates, hit subscribe and the bell button. That way that you don't miss these uploads. So apparently it is likely to be blocked by the FTC, according to thegamer.com. Microsoft might be about to hit a snag in its acquisition of Activision Blizzard, as it's being suggested that the FTC will file an antitrust lawsuit against the deal, as several employees are reportedly skeptical of the company's arguments. Microsoft has continued to push back in all of these regulator entanglements where they're asking questions, they want assurances about certain things, and the market. According to The Gamer, Microsoft has spent the majority of the time since announcing the planned acquisition trying to convince regulators like the FTC and CMA that its deal won't give it an unfair advantage in the gaming industry. And with a lawsuit around the corner from the FTC, they'll be answering more potential questions. According to 3 sources cited by Politico, the lawsuit could be brought to Microsoft as early as next month, which is December. We're almost in December. The lawsuit isn't guaranteed to happen, but those reviewing the deal apparently are not convinced by Microsoft's arguments. Now, keep in mind, a lawsuit doesn't mean that the deal is over or that the deal isn't happening. According to The Gamer, it's worth noting that even if the FTC does file an antitrust lawsuit, it doesn't necessarily mean the deal won't happen. It simply means that Microsoft will have to fight for its deal in the U.S. courts, very likely delaying its closure and heightening the possibility that the deal could collapse. Given the incredibly drawn-out nature of the deal so far, it's definitely going to be much more than a slight headache for Microsoft. They want this thing wrapped up as early as first half of 2023, and with more and more regulators taking a peek at it, that's probably unlikely. Now, Reuters pointed out that a Sony deal may help. So from a completely separate article, they said that the deadline for the European Commission, which is investigating the deal, to set out a formal list of competition concerns known as a statement of objection is in January. So that's right around the corner as well. Offering remedies before such a document is issued could shorten the regulatory process. So Microsoft could shorten that by making some assurances, basically offering remedies. Here's a quote. Ultimately, such a move could secure an early clearance with the European Commission and subsequently be used by the parties before other antitrust agencies. However, it remains to be seen whether the active complainants will validate such concessions, and its behavioral remedies will be accepted by the CMA and the FTC. So we don't actually know if this is even going to work in their favor. Microsoft's remedy would consist mainly of a 10-year licensing deal to PlayStation owner Sony, another person with direct knowledge said. So someone with direct knowledge of what's going on saying a potential pushback and answer here is a 10-year licensing deal, which might start to make this whole thing not feel as favorable as it was initially. I think King, the mobile element of this, is more important than Microsoft. They're probably willing to make these assurances to Sony because they're like, listen, we're going to make a ton of money on Call of Duty on the Sony platform. Let's just get this deal through. You know, could this deal become unfavorable? Will Microsoft back out? Here's my thoughts. The Microsoft Activision deal is in trouble with the FTC, the EU, and other regulators looking at it. The EU wants assurances that may push Microsoft to a 10-year licensing deal with Sony, and the FTC in the USA may file an antitrust lawsuit as early as December of 2022, which means more battle for Microsoft. Could this become so bad that Microsoft just backs off? That remains to be seen. I want to know what you think. Leave comments below. Check out Reforge Gaming. It's where I stream and discuss these things live. As always, hit subscribe and the bell button on this video, and I'll see you in the next one. And I'll see the rest of you right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys so much for being here. And no, the trailer didn't run this morning. I have no idea what the problem was. I have no idea. I did it. I uploaded it. It was less than 3 minutes and it just wouldn't let me do it. So maybe because it was like 2 minutes and 57, it was maybe too close to 3 minutes. I don't know. I'll try a shorter video tomorrow. Members got a sneak peek last night on everything happening today. That's a great reason to become a member. We are doing a daily goal, and we should have alerts down in this corner when you super chat, when you gift, or when you become a member. We're excited to try some of that out. We've never really done that, and that was something that we always did on the other platforms. So thank you guys for being here this morning. Go through your morning ritual. Make sure you're not on top chat. You can't see what everybody's saying on top chat. And hit all the buttons, spam the emotes, say good morning. Thank you guys so much for being here. And don't forget, I want to make sure and make mention of this right here at the beginning of the show before we get into everything. We have taken on some new sponsors, and I completely forgot to mention this. So we are working with Into the AM. I'm wearing another one of their great shirts today. I love it. There's two little cats down here hanging out in the street. Beautiful shirt, super, super comfortable. And right now, you can use code Lono and stack it on top of their site-wide sale. They're having a Cyber Monday extended thing until like December the 4th or 6th or something like that. So get on top of it. There's only a couple of days left on their site-wide sale, and you can stack code Lono on top. intotheam.com/Lono will also work, but make sure and do that. You want to stack the discount on top of what they're already doing. We're still working with, other t-shirt companies, but when you see me in one of these snazzy Into the AM shirts, make sure and use the link below or the link command in chat, shirt command, and use that code. So thank you so much, Into the AM, for sending me some more dope shirts. We appreciate it very, very much. All right, let's get to the discussion now. All right, I want to see what people are saying. Didn't Hogue say that the FTC actually has to file a formal complaint to begin the concession or consent decree process in the U.S.? People close to the deal are saying that the FTC is going to do something as early as December, right? That's what people close to the deal are saying. I don't know. That's obviously we're taking their word for it. Alerts, you say, early access to the topics. So glad I'm a member. Thank you for the $5 super chat. There it is. It worked. I don't know if it made a little sound, but look at that. It's down here in the corner hanging out. And anytime people gift members or become members, we will update that member goal. We would love to see, 15 new members a day. Get them into those segments. We're doing segments now in that lunch break. We do a lunch break with me. And thank you so much, Noberto, for the $5 tip. And we're excited for something, for new things. I've got a different segment every day of the week. So if you're a member, we'll see you there. And that sneak peek last night, that's a nice perk. They knew what we were talking about and doing today because they're members. Let's see. It made the sound okay. Microsoft has never had an issue because it basically precludes them from blocking it. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. There we go. Fuzzy hitting a 12-month milestone, and it's a VIP. You know what I just realized? I don't have this in the other scene, so if the timer switches, it might not do its little thing here. I don't know if member renewals will pop. They should, but I don't know. What was the ding from? The website had like a default chingering that it let me use. Yeah, see, it didn't pop up for a... Yeah, it hasn't hit... I'm not seeing it on the dashboard just yet. I wonder if renewal celebrations don't do it. Let me try something here. I'm going to try something. Oh, of course I do it, and then it switches scenes on me. Yeah, so Silver Subaru popped up because I redid it. So maybe it's just taking a second to hit the board. I don't know. You doing that, Fuzzy, didn't do anything. I don't know if there's a way for me to go in here and, oh, there's variation settings. No, there's just variation settings for gifts and community gifts. I have no idea. I don't want to fiddle with this. It'll be a big giant distraction. Yeah, renewals aren't hitting. I'll have to figure out why that's not happening. I don't even see... I see Silver Subaru, I see Sandy, I see so many people that renewed basically overnight. I think the celebration is something separate because that you've already renewed. Does that make sense? So I wonder if that's the issue. So thank you to all of the new subscribers as well. People are hitting subscribe. We've got this thing to discuss. I don't want to get too distracted. That's one of the reasons why I tried to get everything working last night with the alerts, like having notifications on screen. The FTC has an in-house court for adjudications, and they go to federal for appeal. Okay, I really don't think they want to sue just to get embarrassed again. I don't think regulators are concerned about PR or being quote-unquote embarrassed. That's not their concern at all. Their concern is to make sure they protect the market and the consumers. Like, they're, you know what I'm saying? They're not like, oh, guys, we want to make sure we don't get embarrassed. I mean, do we want to talk about when Microsoft lost when they tried to pull nonsense with Internet Explorer? I mean, I don't necessarily think there's some track record here of Microsoft winning these types of suits. Does that make sense? Hit it, guys. Thank you, Justification. I know that gifteds will show up here. I don't know. I think it might do one for every single person, which will be hilarious. I don't know yet. We'll have to see. It'd be another bad mark by the group. Love the show. Keep up the good work. Silver Subaru with a VIP renewal and 22 months. See, that's the thing. I can see that Silver Subaru is renewed like 14 hours ago. So when midnight hit, I have Vengeance and Talorn and David Smith and Colin and Minch Street. All these people have popped up. I cannot help. I'm doing. Oh, ask me. Call in here. That. Thank you. The Real Sticky with the brand new member. Love it. Oh, we get to update. We get to do this now. We get to do this because that's a brand new one. You the best. If they want to keep their job, it'd be another bad mark by this group. Mo, I don't think that's the way that it works, though. Does that make sense? I don't think that's the way that it works. I don't think they're like, oh, we're gonna lose our job if we don't have a successful lawsuit. I believe they do it out of a duty to protect the consumers and to protect the market. It's not like, well, we might get fired if we lose or whatever. He's kind of right. The strength of the argument will dictate if they sue or not. Right. I'm not saying they're going to sue. I'm saying you're adding things to the dialogue that are not a factor. If you think the FTC is like, we don't want to be embarrassed and we don't want to lose our job, we better not sue Microsoft, I don't think that's how they're discussing it. What happens when we hit 15 members? I don't know. Maybe we should do something fun in the members stream if we hit that 15 member goal every day. I don't know. I was just thinking, hey, let's set a little goal. Let's get 15 new people in here every day. We've got a new segment planned today for the lunch break with Lono. Members get to hang out with me while I eat because we do 2 shows and we do a break in the middle. They're in good company, says Hilly. The CMA and the EU competition regulators have serious concerns. The FTC are in good company, in my opinion. That's what I'm saying. So you think like the CMA's taken notice and they've got concerns. They ratcheted up to like another level. EU has their concerns. And you think that what? That the FTC is going to be like, we don't want to do anything. Like these other countries are. I've been a lurker for quite a while, but recently got a new job, so finally can afford some extras for myself. Glad to finally support. Hey, I appreciate that very much. We are going to continue to stress that live streams live off of memberships. If you guys are doing memberships, you're the lifeblood. If you gift memberships, that helps as well. Let's not be irritated at the drops. Let's celebrate the rises. Let's get back up to 1,000 members. I believe we can do it. You guys are awesome. And the people that jump in like that have been lurking for a while, we really appreciate you, Sticky. I really do. Even if you can't do one and you lurk like crazy, you might end up getting a gifted. Another take is whether the deal is still attractive, as Blizzard needs a new publisher in China. However, it is believed that Chinese partners were already taking the lion's share. Worker Lurker Life, thank you so much, Train. I feel the regulators have absolutely no clue how to deal with Microsoft Activision deal, so they will do what government bodies do best. They'll do nothing. EU is who Microsoft is focusing on right now to get in their good graces. Well, and that's the thing, Mo. A 10-year licensing deal to Sony, that to me sounds extreme. Like that's severe. That to me shows two things. That means Microsoft heavily wants the deal to go through, right? They really want the deal to go through. And after that, it's like, well, 10 years? So they offered a 3-year extension that would have gotten them to 2027, 2028. Now you're talking about getting into 2032, 2033? We got any other topics lined up today beyond this one? We'll be checking out Warhammer Darktide for the second stream, and then we have a new segment that we'll be doing during the members stream. I don't know why you're asking that 5 minutes into this stream. The 10-year deal and Sony isn't commenting and Sony trying to get it blocked. Oh, the 10-year deal and Sony isn't commenting and Sony's trying to get it blocked. What do they mean? What are they trying to get blocked? I don't understand. Let's run this through. Let's say they get it blocked, says Fuzzy. So then Activision Blizzard goes back on the market and Google, Amazon, Meta, Tencent, they'll try to buy it. Why is this just Microsoft taking this scrutiny? Why wouldn't this deal get blocked no matter what? I don't think that would happen, Fuzzy. Listen, if everybody is hanging out and saying, "Hey, let's watch this. Let's take a look at this deal." You got all these regulators laying in, and you also have the world watching. If it gets blocked, I don't think any other companies would be like, "Well, we're going to take a crack at this." I don't think so. I think they would say, no thanks. Number one, the asking price is too high. We don't want to get involved. I think what would happen is Activision Blizzard would have to sell things off piece by piece. Does that make sense? None of those companies would get to buy it either. Yeah, if Microsoft can't buy it, if the regulators decide this is too big of a purchase, this is too market disruptive, it wouldn't go through. Everybody's fine with the deal except Sony. That is such a false representation of what's going on, Mo. Like, if you said that as a news reporter, you would be absolutely shredded for inaccuracy. That's not accurate at all. The CMA issued their own concerns that echoed what Sony had said, and the EU has issued their concerns. It is absolutely and fundamentally false to claim that nobody cares about the deal. Everybody's fine except for Sony. If that were true, then the regulators would be like, Sony, your concerns aren't warranted. This is going through. Apple seems to have a pretty big issue with it. Yeah, this idea that everybody wants to paint this as like Sony is crying and Sony is scared, that's spin. That's like fanboy tribalistic spin. That doesn't have anything to do with what's going on. Seems like an extreme stance for a regulator to take. This one company can't be bought in perpetuity. It sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. I think it's the size of the company that's the problem, Sandy. Think about it. Anybody who has the cash flow, anybody who has the capital to potentially buy Activision Blizzard, they're so big that then it becomes a problem. Do you see what I'm saying? Nvidia still has a big issue with it. Apple has an issue because they want to protect their distribution model. Gee, doesn't that sound like something that regulators should look at? An entire company's, distribution model might be disrupted. An entire ecosystem of purchases on Sony might get disrupted. Like, of course, that's exactly what these regulatory bodies exist for. That's why we have them. We have them, so when a company wants to do something like this, everyone's like, well, wait, what are the ramifications of this? You're talking about a $70 billion acquisition. You're talking about 25% of the global gaming revenue. That's how much money is being spent on this deal. Like, of course they're going to want to look at it. They're not going to be like, yeah, it's fine. But you can't legislate in perpetuity. To say this company is too big to be bought or fail is a legal nightmare. Well, I think we're saying that if it gets shut down, if Microsoft gets blocked from buying them, I don't think any other company would step up to the plate and say, we're going to take a crack at it. You're misrepresenting what I said. I didn't say that these regulatory bodies would say, nope, in perpetuity, no one can buy Activision Blizzard. I didn't say that. I said that if it got blocked, who on earth is going to want to step up to the plate and be like, here's our $70 billion. We'll take a crack at this. No, they would say, we're not interested. They're going to get it. It's going to get blocked. It's going to get blocked unless we only buy a portion. Yo, Smart Duck with a $10 super chat. Bling. Thank you for that. If you guys feel like gifting, I want to see what happens. Thank you so much. It says, everyone spins everything someone says for clicks and views, but don't give accurate information. Glad to see someone who doesn't. Thank you. What's up, everyone? Long time no see. Just a thought. If this deal doesn't go through, has anyone thought about Activision not playing ball with others if it gets blocked, seeing how they too want it? That's what I'm saying. Like, if it gets blocked, I would have to think that a ton of people would say, we're not going to try. Why would we try to buy them if it just got blocked? Darth Nihilus with 11 months. Thank you so much for jumping back in as a VIP. And there's Minstree jumping back in with a VIP membership. Nothing clever to say. Have a great show. Thank you very, very much. The new pop-up's absolutely dope. Thank you. Sadly, renewal celebrations in chat don't hit it, but yo, what's good, Boogeyman? Yeah, Boogeyman's not been here in a minute. I'm not saying that it would be blocked in perpetuity. I just want that to be very crystal clear. I'm saying that nobody else would want to go through what Microsoft is going through right now. Basically, constantly making assurances and potentially being told, yeah, this isn't good enough, and spending that kind of money. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot of money to spend, so it might be better to go through instead of the latter. Just adding 60+ billion is a lot to spend on exclusive deals. It might hurt Sony more by passing their game instead of their own game. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Mo. If I were Microsoft, I'd sell off Activision and keep Blizzard, considering Phil Spencer's interest in renewing old IPs. Yo, a 5-month renewal, and it's a member plus. Just getting this out of the way. Thank you, Justification. I don't understand the issue, says Kevin. If it was some nameless, faceless investment conglomerate, no one would say anything. Do you understand the point that you're making, Kevin? That's probably true, but the reason that it's true is because when a giant company like Microsoft with massive deep pockets and far-reaching control of elements of the software industry, you have to take concern when they're like, hey, we're going to spend $70 billion and we're going to buy a company that represents 25% of the global gaming revenue. We're spending a fourth of what the globe generates every year in gaming revenue. That's what we're going to do. What? You of course people are interested. Yeah, and if it was some nameless conglomerate, there would be interest there too. Like, where's this money coming from? Who pooled all this money? How'd you get $70 billion? In my opinion, says Sandy, I think the regulators should look to split Xbox and Microsoft. If the fear is vertical integration, make them separate companies, have Xbox stand on its own. Yeah, I don't know how you would do that, because the gaming division it needs Microsoft behind it. It can't stand on its own right now. A purchase that big wouldn't just go through without investigating it. The audacity of Sony to try to say Microsoft has to put Call of Duty on their subservice day and date when they don't even put their own titles on their subservice. Where did they say that? I've not read anything that, unless that's new, if that happened while I was out of town. When did Sony say that they need to be able to put Call of Duty on their subservice day and date? That they wouldn't want to do that. Are you kidding me? 48% of the people who buy Call of Duty buy it on Sony. Why would Sony suddenly want to put Call of Duty on their subservice? In the CMA write-up, you've misrepresented a couple of things today. Dollars to donuts, you're misrepresenting that. I highly doubt that Sony was like, we want it to be on our subservice. Are you sure they weren't taking an issue with Microsoft putting it on their own subservice and that causing a disruption? What was the exact quote? Newtonian with a $2 super chat tip. Thank you so much for doing that. There's no way Sony said that. I remember them having an issue with they didn't want it to be on Game Pass. Sony reported that Microsoft reviews PS Plus on Xbox. Okay, but that's not what he just said. He says they try and say that Microsoft had to put Call of Duty on their subservice. Have you seen Dessiner Richard Hogue video this week? You're out of the loop. I read The Gamer and I read another article from Reuters. I'm not out of the loop because I didn't watch some guys that you think are God's gift to information. Watch my show or get the frick out. Upgraded membership to VIP. Thank you, UK Gamer, for upgrading. Don't start coming in here and telling me I'm out of the loop because someone throws out some fact in chat, which we haven't even fact-checked yet, that makes me out of the loop. I read an article from literally 2 articles from like less than 48 hours old. Hoeg read the whole thing. I'm glad that you're continuing to lean on that instead of giving me the direct quote. The only reason Activision was for sale to begin with is because of the toxic work environment being outed. Their purchase is their golden parachute. They went over the 60-page documents. Cool, go watch them. That's not what I do with my content. Thank you so much for 2 months. Belanjude, Morning Lono in chat. Love the content. Makes my workday quicker. The quickest way for me to walk you the frick out of my audience is to come in here and be like, these other guys covered this better than you. They read through a 60. Then go watch them. And go print off the document and sleep with it. That's not what I do with my content. I read 2 different articles that talked about the FTC is thinking about suing and the EU is asking for assurances as soon as January. That's what we're talking about. You want to enter some Sony narrative that Sony wants Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus. That's not the overarching subject today. If you want to enter that into the discussion, fine, and you want to find some CMA document where Sony was trying to insist that it should be on PS Plus, that's antithetical to everything that Sony's been doing with their business model. You know what I'm saying? Like, why on earth would they do that? They sell 48% of the people that buy Call of Duty buy it on Sony. Why would they be like, we're insisting that you put it on our subservice so you can sell less copies? Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense. Unless they were doing a non-compete thing where they said, all right, we want it to be on our subservice if you put it on your subservice, which isn't what you said. I believe this is what they're talking about. Microsoft won't put Call of Duty on PS Plus, claims Sony. I remember them having an issue if it went on to the actual Game Pass. They were worried about what that would do to the ecosystem. Microsoft won't put Call of Duty on PS Plus, claims Sony. Oh my gosh, hang on a second. You turn off your ad blocker. Well, don't put ads everywhere. It's annoying. Sony has many arguments as to say why they don't want the Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard, and one of those is that Call of Duty won't be put on PlayStation Plus. In fact, Sony implies that none of Activision's other titles will be available on PlayStation Plus either, with players needing to subscribe to Game Pass instead. Yes, see, you're misrepresenting. This is exactly what I said was going on. You misrepresented what they said. They didn't say, we're insisting that you put Call of Duty on PS Plus day and date. That's not what they're saying. They're saying that if you put Activision titles on Game Pass, especially one the size of Call of Duty, that's a disruption. You're making it to where we can't compete with that. because we're selling it. That's a disruption. That's what they're saying. They're not saying we insist that you give it to us day and date. That's a complete misrepresentation of their complaint. Microsoft has apparently made it clear that Call of Duty and other Activision titles like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot will not be available on any game subscription services other than Xbox Game Pass. Sony claims in their response to the CMA issue statement, as Sony considers the PS Plus multi-game subscription service to be critical to its future of competitiveness. It considers Call of Duty on PS Plus to be essential. That doesn't say day and date either. That doesn't say day and date. They're talking about being competitive in the subscription model. And if you buy this company for $70 billion and you're the only one that can put their games on your subscription model, that removes their ability and their future competitiveness in that model. They're not saying you better give us Call of Duty day and date. This is exactly what always happens with you guys. You come in here, you drive a false narrative, and when I body check you, what do? Well, this other YouTuber read all the documents, you're uninformed, and in 60 seconds, I show that you're running a false narrative and misrepresenting what they said. Wow, I'm so shocked that I didn't have to go read a 60-page document to body you to the canvas. Give me a frickin' break. Come in here and do that. I knew as soon as I read it, I knew it wasn't true. I was like, no, Sony's not going to insist that they put Call of Duty on day and date. That's counterproductive to their revenue model. They want to be able to put Call of Duty on PS Plus because that's a subscription model competitive edge. To be like, hey, yeah, every once in a while we're going to have really big titles hit our subscription service. Like, I don't know, God of War Ragnarok's probably going to hit the PS Plus subscription service like a year later. And being told you can't do that is disruptive to the competitive nature of the market. So if Game Pass has it day and date and PlayStation Plus gets it a few months later, isn't that still not parity? Still weakening PS Plus offer to new consumers? Probably. I'm not denying that in that scenario they might request parity, but he's misrepresenting what they said. He said that Sony was insisting they get COD day and date on PS Plus. That is not what the complaint or the concern is. The complaint is their subscription model, a multi-game subscription service, is critical to the future competitiveness of the market. And if one company buys up $70 billion of the market and then nobody else gets to put those games on their subscriptions, that's a problem. That's not the same as saying, we insist that you give us Call of Duty day and date. Those two statements aren't even remotely close to each other. They're not even related. They're not even distant cousins. One claim is false, and the other is a direct quote from them and their concern. The framing of the concern is not, we better get Call of Duty day and date. It's, the multi-game subscription service is important. And if we can't have COD ever on PS Plus, that's a problem. They don't deserve COD on their own subservice. Okay, ideological fanboyism. That's not a factual statement. Like, you put that on a bumper sticker. That's not any. There's no factual anything behind that. They don't deserve. Yo, Daniel Duncan, welcome back to Reforge Gaming. Thank you so much. Come on, man. They don't deserve it. What does that even mean? Who talks like that? They don't deserve it. This is business, homie. There's no worthiness. There's no Mjolnir for somebody to pick up and say they're worthy. This isn't a comic book. This is business. If Microsoft wants to make money off of Call of Duty, then it makes perfectly good sense for Sony to say, hey, wait a minute. Whoa. That doesn't sound like it's going to be very good for us. You're going to throw it on your subscription service, and then we can never do that? What on earth? That's not something that we want to see in the market. Dude, that's completely disruptive to the subscription model. Like, what? That's their complaint. Their complaint is not, oh, you better give it to us day one. They don't. Even if they own it, as long as they have it on their system, that's good enough. Oh, my gosh. Still acting like it's about Sony. Right, like, this isn't about Sony. Yo, what's good, Suede? I forgot to connect with you while I was up there. Thank you so much. Welcome back, Suede. 8 months and a member plus. I appreciate you very, very much for doing that. Guys, we have alerts now. Unfortunately, renewals, some show and some don't. I think it shows, like, if you're renewing that moment, but we haven't seen what gifteds do yet, and we are doing daily goals. We are doing daily member segments when I break for lunch, so make sure your membership's up to date for that. That argument is so stupid to me. Of course, a company wants to be ahead of the others. Can I sue Microsoft too because I can't keep up with them? That's not what's happening. No one is suing a company because they can't keep up. The FTC is considering doing an antitrust lawsuit because when a company the size of Microsoft spends $70 billion, it can be damaging to the market. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's looking at this the wrong way. It's not about, oh, Sony this, Sony that. No. Yo, East Coast Overlord with a $10 super chat tip. Talking about worthiness is stupid. If we're going to say things like that, Microsoft isn't worthy because gaming performance now suffers on the highest end hardware on the latest version of Windows. Yeah, right? Like, how are you even going to frame an argument about who's worthy of what? No one but Sony really matters and is having any relevant pushback on the situation. CMA and the EU are having pushback on the situation. That's a false statement. Are we like, why are we just saying things that are false? I don't get it. What do you achieve by just saying something that isn't true? What do you achieve by doing that? You got me to read it. You got me to reply to it. Beyond this micro millisecond of a smackdown, what's the point in typing something that's not true? It's so easily falsifiable. All you have to do is go and read the CMA's concerns or the EU's concerns. It takes a breath of time to do that, to be like, it's not just Sony. I'm talking about companies that have to do with gaming. What do you mean? Nvidia and Apple have both issued their own concerns. They're in the gaming space. What are you talking about? Apple has launched their own gaming, front. You go to their store, they got a whole section of the Apple store dedicated to gaming. Nvidia isn't in the gaming space? What? It's not just Sony. Butter says, I think another issue we are seeing is other industries are showing that companies in the U.S. are becoming monopolies, especially with the recent Ticketmaster issue. Yeah, I didn't follow what happened there. If you guys are just tuning in, we're having a hot debate about the Xbox Activision Blizzard deal. We appreciate you tuning in. Strong turnout today. Do all the things. Smash all the stuff. Oh, actually, that's not what we're saying anymore. We're saying, I want to see Lono dope emotes in chat. That's what I want to see. These Marvel Midnight reviews are stellar. Marvel Midnight? What are you talking about? Hilly knows. Hilly says the regulators are looking at the consumer who has already bought a plastic box and a deal which could prevent them from being able to access an existing product. Right, like, that's what I mean. You can't keep saying this is just a Sony thing. It's all on Sony. It's like, no, like, regulators. Oh, Midnight Suns. Oh, that's Friday. Yeah, Friday, Midnight Suns. We won't be playing Midnight Suns. We'll be playing Callisto Protocol on Friday. I'm not an XCOM guy, so, I mean, it might be worth checking out for an hour, but that'd be my run with it. Giving 10 years, they'll have access to it. Right. See, Mo, that's the thing that I was trying to drill down on, and we went off on this big tangent, okay? The thing that I was trying to drill down on was if Microsoft is going to the EU and saying, we're willing to do a 10-year license with Sony, okay? That means that Microsoft isn't looking at this the same way that so many of the Microsoft fans are looking at it. They're like, we want this deal to go through. 10 years, fine, yeah, 10 years. We'll give 10-year Sony license. Call of Duty can be over there for 10 years, no problem. We'll renegotiate in 10 years because it's our property, right? Maybe we want a better rate. Maybe we want a better royalty share, or that's more favorable to us, in 10 years. I don't necessarily think Microsoft is looking at this and saying, oh my gosh, we have to protect Call of Duty. They want the deal to go through. I actually think the deal goes through. That today is not doomsday, oh no, the deal's not going through. And all the coverage I've been watching, and a lot of people are making videos and articles about this, everyone but Sony is a side mention. So that's where that Sony being the only one that matters. Well, do you hazard a guess on why you think that is? Why do you think the videos and the articles are making it about Sony? I don't know. Go watch my reaction video to Young Yeah on this. Go watch me eviscerate him and Destin from IGN and all these armchair people accusing Sony of hypocrisy. Just go watch me eviscerate what they did, and then think of why would they do that? Why would gaming journalists who are glorified content creators, and why would content creators invoke Sony in this discussion? It's so hard to imagine, because it gets clicks and it gets views and it gets comments. They are literally leveraging the tribalistic monkey brain of the internet to be like, yep, Sony's crying, Sony's a hypocrite. Why? That gonna get you clicks, baby. That's a great impression farm. Yeah, man, Sony, bunch of hypocrites, Sony. The public narrative on this was so negatively slanted against Sony. Sony didn't even do their annual showcase because they were like, we don't really want to. We don't want to walk out here and start talking about all of our exclusive titles as we're battling with Microsoft about exclusivity. Never eviscerate anyone. You just a Sony clown. You tried to say Ragnarok was a PS5 next-gen game. Yeah. Is it time to be stupid and adorable? I didn't realize that alarm went off. Is that why you typed that? I missed that. I didn't realize that at 10 a.m. it was time to be stupid and adorable in chat time. It's not a PS5 next-gen game. Sure, cool. That's why I have 500,000 views on a short showing that God of War Ragnarok looks better than the PC Ultra settings of God of War 2018. But go off, King. Thank you for 15 months, English O. Member Plus sounds like shilling for Sony. I insist this sounds more favorable to Microsoft and want PS money, so games will always be on PlayStation. This is why Reforge is my go-to for game talk, logic and facts above fanboy feelings. That's what I'm saying. I'm not the one making this about Sony. It blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind that the Microsoft guys come in here and make it about Sony, and then I'm the Sony fanboy. Wait, what? No! I was talking about the FTC and the EU, and I was talking about how, man, Microsoft must really want this deal to go through if they're willing to do a 10-year licensing deal with Sony. I'm talking about Microsoft's commitment to this deal, and I got Microsoft guys coming in and making it about Sony's crying. Sony's the only one that cares. Like, well, I'm not the one that did that. I didn't insert that into the discussion. I didn't call them hypocrites. That's the other side doing that. Thank you, Fonzo, for 19 months and a VIP. Coffee, join, shirt, glasses, get it. Yeah, you guys can use all those commands if you're interested. Thank you for the $2.36. Oh, that's cool. It converts it for the alert. Thank you so much for the $2 tip, Narift. Where can I find the video of you rebutting them? It's on the Reforge Reacts video channel. I reacted to Young Yeah, and it was, to me, I found his coverage of the situation to be just completely and utterly lacking the usual polish and exhaustiveness that he brings to the table. His coverage of it was bad, and I took him and the tweets he referenced to just task. It was like, this is not about Sony being a hypocrite. Sony is not taking an issue with exclusives. Anybody who frames it that way is a liar. I mean that. Any content creator, YouTuber, or gaming journalist who frames this and says that Sony is against exclusives, they are a liar. They're lying to you. That is not what this is about. It's never been about exclusives. It's been about market disruption. The third largest game in the world, right? Call of Duty. I guess you can't include mobile. In console PC land, I think Call of Duty's like third largest franchise in existence. And somebody suddenly owning that could be a massive problem for the market. Thank you, Alapark, for the $10 tip. Canadian, so we lost on that deal. I'm just kidding. People forget that this happens all the time. Disney deals with this every time they buy a studio. Look at when they bought Century 21 Fox. All Fox TV had to be spun off to get the deal done. Right. Like, it is not, none of this is about exclusivity. None of this is about any of that. It's about it's about the market. Thank you for the $5 tip, East Coast Overlord. Everyone cares. NVIDIA wouldn't be selling a 4090 for $1,600 if they didn't care. Apple wouldn't have a Call of Duty mobile app if they didn't care. That's what I'm talking about. There's a whole market attached to Call of Duty. There's an entire ecosystem attached to Call of Duty. It's the largest third-party franchise. Yo, Craig just gifted 5 members. Let's see what the alerts does. That'll take us to 6 on the member goal. My man Craig, thank you. I want to see what this does. Come on. Where is it? Is it delayed? Hey, Boogeyman got one. Sishuan got one. Darkstar got one. Tree got one. And Patrick GF got one. It didn't pop. There it goes. There it goes. It's going to do all of them, I think. So when you gift, yep, there they go. You can hijack my alerts. All right, let's go to the goal for the day, and let's go. That's 6. Now we're almost halfway there. You get your name in lights. And guys, don't forget, $5 memberships are now regular memberships. We're not going to do the base intro trial thing. $6 members are plus and VIPs are 10. Those people will get extra content, but we are not going to be taking away content from members, especially people who are gifting. So I really want that sound to be something funny. Like, how about the, oh, like when I was impersonating that Nintendo game. It's just every time someone becomes a member, oh. I'm reading an article right now on The Gamer where PlayStation CEO specifically voices concerns about exclusivity. Right, but when someone purely makes it about that, Kevin, so they can call Sony hypocrites, that is not... You know what I'm saying? That's not what it's about. If I told you I didn't want you to put a road through my backyard because it was going to, and I list a bunch of reasons, right? You couldn't be like, oh, he's against roads. What? No, I'm not against roads. It would be completely and utterly disruptive to my backyard and my kid's life. My children wouldn't be able to play anymore. This guy's anti-road, really concerned about roads. No. They're talking about exclusivity, but that's a means to say this would disrupt the market. Did they say a word when they bought Bethesda? No, they didn't. They didn't say a word. That wasn't an issue. Why? Because that's not a problem. It's like, that's fine. I mean, you can have Fallout 7 or whatever the frick. Maybe the ding-dong doorbell sound that everybody loves. EU specifically listed concerns in the PC market. Right, like, the idea here is... I think people are looking at it like... You're ignoring the fact that the CMA is concerned, the EU's concerned, and the FTC might file a suit. But it's just because Sony's crying and they're hypocrites. That's just not at all what is going on. No, this is so much bigger than that. The gaming market is easily, I think, one of the fastest growing markets in existence. It's massive. It is massive. Yo, my man Sichuan got a gifted member, and he's paying it forward with 5 more. That's my man right there. Let's keep that going. Keep paying it forward. Let's get back to 1,000 members. I believe that we can do it. Thank you very much, Sichuan. You guys are going to have your names pop up down here, taking us to 11 out of the needed 15. We want to see 15 a day. Always pay it forward. I appreciate that so much. And we no longer have, base membership, full membership. A member is a member. So the new member segments, you guys will all get to be a part of it. I'm not saying that Sony is crying, but they've outspoken against Call of Duty exclusivity, which definitely sounds hypocritical when the selling point of their console is exclusive titles. Kevin, it only sounds hypocritical if you look at headlines and not details. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to accuse you of being stupid. That's not what I'm attempting to do here. Wait, why does that say nitrous? I don't see a nitrous in chat. Did this person just... How many members have we gotten today? Hang on 1 second. Let me check something. Yeah, we've gotten 13 new members, it says. I don't understand. I don't see a nitrous in chat. Anyway, welcome to Reforge Gaming, Stephen Morrison, Ronald Madrid, Legions, Devin Blevins, and Morek Novak. Welcome in. Enjoy all the extra content. Members also got a sneak peek on what we were doing today. I uploaded a video last night, so make sure and check your feeds. We'll be doing that now. I don't think you're looking at this in, an unintelligent way, but it only sounds like hypocrisy if you don't dig into it. Wait, what? Why is Sony complaining about exclusivity? Well, they're talking about the 3rd largest franchise in existence, and 48% of the people who buy that game buy it on their system, and it would be massively market disruptive to them, and virtually any company attached to Call of Duty could be harmed if that game goes exclusive to one platform. Oh, okay, well then that's not them being upset about exclusivity. They're expressing concern about their ability to compete in the market. That's what they're supposed to do. Does that make sense? Nitra says, woot woot. If you guys just got gifted a member, consider paying it forward. Do another 5-bomb. Let's get a little train going. That would full buy and make Call of Duty exclusive if they could as well. I'd be surprised if they weren't already trying to work toward that before this. They were already halfway there to begin with. East Coast Overlord with a $5 tip. What if we come at this from another point? Hypothetically, what if Sony is being hypocritical? Does that make the EU's concern wrong? Right, injecting hypocrisy into the discussion doesn't have any bearing. There's the alert. Thanks for the 5 spot. How do you gift? You hit the $sign at the bottom of the chat, and it should just be an option there to gift members. And thanks, guys, for the strong turnout today. We really appreciate it. Let's just say they're being hypocritical. Who gives a frick? Who cares? Since when are we concerned about that? Is that an ethical thing? Is that a moral thing? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Right? If Sony was actively out there trying to buy some giant property that was really profitable for their competitor and take it away, you'd have an argument. But every company entering the gaming space is attempting to buy and have their own property. They're all doing it. So that levels the playing field. Nobody is not doing it. Sony's not coming out and saying, now hang on just a minute. We do it all the time, but we don't want you to do it. That's not what they're saying. They didn't say a word about Bethesda. They didn't. They just bought Bungie. They're not concerned about that. That's fair game. They didn't say anything when Xbox did it with Tomb Raider. They're speaking about something bigger than just, oh yeah, you're not allowed to buy companies. What are you talking about? Everybody does it. Every company that's trying to enter this market does it. Look at Steam's anti-competitive behavior with pricing, for crying out loud. Developers have spoken out about this. Should Sony really be saying this after doing it themselves? Microsoft would be able to increase console and game prices for Xbox users, including those that had switched from PlayStation, increase the price of Game Pass, and reduce innovation and quality. PlayStation hasn't done that. Where has PlayStation, like, decreased innovation and quality? They're doing things with their console that Xbox isn't. Haptic feedback, 3D audio, adaptive triggers. Like, what are you talking about? They are innovating. And they didn't just increase the price of their stuff and reduce innovation and quality. Not at all. Put prices up anytime they want. You're ripping that quote out of context, though. They're talking specifically about controlling the market and then increasing prices. Thank you so much, Sorcerer, for 18 months in a VIP. Another month pass. Keep up the awesome content. Thank you so much, Sorcerer. Lono being contrarian? I'm not being contrarian. The discussion today was supposed to be about this deal continues to get snagged and slowed. And Microsoft's commitment to the deal is significant if they're willing to give Sony a 10-year license deal. And I got Microsoft fans in my chat saying Sony's the only one that cares. False. This is about exclusivity and they're hypocrites. False. No, I didn't create that narrative and that dialogue today. I've said this before. People make me sound like a Sony fanboy because I'm not allowed to just cover the subject. I got to bat down nonsense all day and be like, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. So what is happening? Why is it playing? Why did it suddenly start playing my stream? That was super weird. Thank you so much. Somebody pre-ordered some Frickmas. A Team Dark Roast with a bit of Frickmas. I know who this is. Zubair got 2 bags of Dark Roast and a Frickmas. Thank you so much, sir. Lono's actually a PC fanboy. Sony haven't bought any company that has grown on the Microsoft ecosystem and removed that software. Don't confuse market disruption with exclusivity. That's exactly right, Hilly. Thank you. There's no equal here. There's no equal. Sony's being hypocritical. You're giving your opinion. Why are you acting surprised that people will disagree with it? Viceroy, I'm not acting surprised. I'm showing that when I try to talk about the Microsoft deal and Microsoft's commitment and the FTC and the EU, look where a couple of people took us. They're making it all about Sony. And I'm trying to tell you, it ain't about Sony. Sony's in the mix, sure. But this would have happened regardless. You think EU and CMA and the FTC, you think they all would have just sat by and been like, that's fine. $70 billion? That's cool. You know, Sony's asleep at the wheel. They didn't say anything was wrong with it, so go right ahead. The FTC's on record as being more investigative in big tech purchases. Like they're like, whoa, wait, what's going on here? We don't want all this consolidation. I'm not saying games shouldn't be 70. The amount of times and money that go into them, we get games at a steal. Yeah, it's bigger than Call of Duty and Sony. It really, really is. There's concerns about the PC market. There's concerns about, I don't know if this has been said yet, but what about the mobile market? Like, the mobile market's massive. And to suddenly just inherit and own King and all their property, that's a lot of overnight power. You got to look at the potential ramifications of that. What negatives could met out from this? You know what I'm saying? The other tech companies are mad at Microsoft because they want to protect their own distribution models. And they should. They 100% should. Like, imagine being a company and not protecting your distribution model. Imagine being a company and not protecting your bottom line and your profit. Why is that wrong? Wait. What do you think? What do you think they're doing? That's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll make it back somehow. No, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to. They're constantly monitoring the market and making sure they're maximizing profit. It blows my mind how many gamers do not understand basic business practices. Of course, but in this case, the disruption is consumer friendly, ironically. No, it's not. No, it's not. The disruption's not consumer friendly. I want you to imagine a future where Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard uninhibited. They just do it. It's theirs. Like that. No one stops them. No one utters a single whisper of complaint. You don't think that that turns into a bad situation for you long term as the consumer? You can't think of a reality where quality goes down? What if Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard and gets rid of all the redundancies and all of the stinkers? Just cut, gut, shut down. Why? We're maximizing profit, baby. Oh, that IP? You really like that game? No, not profitable enough. It's done. Shuttered. Yo, my man Fazimoto doing a member plus. Welcome back. Thank you so much, my friend. Quality has gone down the last 5 years anywhere. Blame that on mobile trash. They're launching Xbox apps on TV for cloud streaming. And that's what's going to happen. I feel like Xbox owners are still resentful they purchased the less popular console. The Netflix approach. Apex Predator says, I think this is going through. Microsoft has their tentacles extremely deep in the government in the U.S. and has been protected from having deals blocked and other things. Quasimodo's a fire name. Sorry, I've been away for a while. Had to put a pause on the sub for a few months. Well, welcome back. You don't lose your streak whenever that happens. So welcome back. Thank you for being here. We do have alerts now. Gifted members pop up here. We've already got 11 new members today. And every day we take a break at lunch and I hang out with the members. And we've now added brand new segments to those breaks. So consider jumping in. I'm a PS player and I think Sony's arguments are becoming absurd. I don't... What do you mean? What is Sony arguing? What Sony arguments are becoming absurd? What new thing have they said that's absurd? Y'all need to research the current FTC if you think Microsoft is protected. Yeah, I would say that's true. I don't think the FTC is like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want. Lono, the distribution model Microsoft is presenting is way more consumer friendly. Not having to tie games to consoles is a huge win. No, it's not. No, it's not. Consolidation of all that software is not consumer friendly at all. No, it isn't. Because then you have to go to Microsoft. Just because you can do it on your TV, phone, or your PC doesn't mean it's automatically more consumer friendly because you have to go to one place. Like, look at what Steam does with their anti-competitive pricing rules, right? You can't get a game on sale without it also going on sale on Steam, which drives a lot of companies to not ever discount their games because it makes it too difficult. It's like, well, we can't do a bonus or a special over here because then we also have to do it on Steam. If Microsoft controls all of that, just because it's more accessible to you doesn't automatically make it more consumer friendly. That's not automatically true. That's a non sequitur. It does not follow. Just because software is more accessible doesn't mean it's automatically more consumer friendly. Why? Because you still have one company that then is controlling all that software. Competition breeds successful innovation, especially in tech. It's healthy and it's needed. Sony and Microsoft buying devs is bad for everyone. If Bethesda was still independent, they would have released a game by now or gone bankrupt. We get less games. You're already conceding it's more accessible. Yes, and it's a non sequitur to say that that logically leads to better for the consumer. What do you mean? Are we eating more healthy with the accessibility of fast food and the affordability of it? Are you eating better? Is that automatically better for the consumer? Is it? Can you say that every time something goes up in accessibility that it's better for the consumer? Has the accessibility and the affordability of cheap clothes at Walmart, is that better for the consumer? Is it automatically better for the consumer when you analyze the economics of what goes into that? You're assuming... Yo, thank you for the 5 spot, Michael Sigler. Did it pop up? Thank you so much for the $5 tip. There it is. Sometimes it's a little delayed. The FTC doesn't block deals. They approve them and sue them after the government blocks the deals. So what's the general feeling about Microsoft and the deal? Is it likely to go through or not so much? I actually think it goes through because Microsoft's committed to it. The fact that they were willing to do a 10-year licensing deal with Sony, come on. Like, Microsoft is going to do everything they can to ensure this goes through. I actually think it does go through. That was kind of the point of today, was it's in trouble, but what's emerged from the trouble is that Microsoft's going to drag this thing across the finish line if they have to. I'm saying the current distribution model is more harmful than disruption. I don't think so. No. My opinion as a consumer is the current distribution model gives me some of the greatest video games I've ever played. And suddenly diluting that and having a bunch of franchises under one company's ownership and then making them available everywhere on every platform and running them on cloud, I happen to think that's going to degrade quality. I don't think you're going to get the quality of games that we've gotten from games like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. I don't think that you get that level of quality when you dilute everything and go multi-platform everywhere cloud gaming. Where's the proof in that? I don't know. The litany of interviews with developers that have talked about building for one ecosystem increases quality, efficiency, and bandwidth of their game making. I don't know. Maybe that. Maybe the people that actually build the games, the experts, the ones saying that when they build for one system, it's better. You end up with better games. Are we really going to look at first-party titles and not say that you look at the quality that you get? And the developers talk about this. So if you take a developer and you say, hey, that really awesome game that you're making, yeah, it needs to be able to run on the cloud. It needs to be able to run in all these places, and it's going to be multi-platform. That hurts quality. The FTC doesn't block deals. I'm dying. Yeah, I read that and wasn't even sure why I read it. Yeah, what's good, Toasty Buns? Rockstar Games quality drops because it's on all platforms. No. But developers are on record as saying when they build for one system, efficiency and quality goes up. If Rockstar were to make a game just for the Series X or just for the PS5, quality would go up. Yes. Yo, welcome back, Captain Toasty Buns as a Reforge member. Appreciate you. Yes, quality would go up. Rockstar's a bug fest at launch. Yeah, like really? You gonna use Rockstar like their games they have buggy launches at times? And a lot of that is because you're building for multiple systems. The greatest deception of all time is when you can convince people to do and say things that are against their own self-interest and make them believe it is for their benefit. What do you mean? They're as good as what? Horizon Forbidden's melee system is crap. Sony games are good, but they're far from perfect. Okay, if you want to get down into the minutia of specific criticisms of a game, that's not what I was talking about. Developers are officially on record in many different interviews saying that when they build a game for one system, quality goes up. It stands to reason, okay? It just stands to reason that if they can focus on optimization and squeezing every last square inch of power out of a system and not have to worry about different pipelines, different power. Like, think about the fact that, like, the difference between the Series X and the PlayStation 5, one's got a stronger CPU and a weaker GPU, and one has a stronger GPU and a weaker CPU, right? All of your processing has to take that into account. There was a time where, I think it was Arc developers spoke out and said they were struggling to optimize their game on one of the Xbox systems because of the difference in power structure. It was like, well, it's stronger here but weaker there. They had to reallocate a bunch of things. That takes tons of time. It hinders innovation. It hurts quality. I'm not saying anything that's provocative. Like, if a development team builds a game for one system, quality goes up. That's not a provocative statement. The biggest barrier to competition in gaming specifically is distribution. It goes back to Apple and Fortnite. More access is objectively better than tying to consoles. Okay, hang with me, Caleb. You can be right in principle and wrong in practice. So yes, in principle, when a game is accessible and available everywhere, and I don't have to go buy a piece of plastic to play it, right? Fortnite's a good example. That's great for me as a consumer. So then I can just play the game. And cross-play is another benefit to the consumer, okay? But if the road to get there is one company owning 25% of, like, global revenue for games, that's risky. You're giving them so much power over the market so you can have more accessible games. And again, you're taking all those games and putting them under one umbrella, and then you're asking those games to work everywhere on the cloud, every system, which can dilute quality, right? Like, Fortnite's in a unique position. It's a battle royale. It's built in Unreal. You know what I'm saying? If they want to play the long game, which it seems they do, Microsoft should consider long-term investment in in-house healthy third-party development. Yes, COD is huge, and when it comes to new or refreshed IPs that crush in the AAA arena, they're dead last. Oh yeah, my glasses. Yeah, we're back with Gamer Advantage. Listen, guys, it's a huge deal that we're back with them. I really need folks to go nuts. Like, go over there, use my code. Y'all are the best. Like, so you can be right in principle. That, you know, oh yeah, Microsoft owning all this property, oh yeah, it'd be great. They'll put it everywhere. Their distribution model is so great. You don't think that their distribution model is rooted in being competitive and being, like, the number one cloud-based ecosystem for gaming? Right? So they're going to try to push the competition out. They're going to do the same thing anybody would do. They're going to want to be the number one source for cloud-based gaming. Like, yeah, their ecosystem's everywhere. Your logic is sound but speculative, especially speaking on what devs say. Devs have also said making for multiple platforms is more work but doesn't affect game design. Okay. Let's look at Call of Duty as a great test case for this. Seriously, look at it. 11 studios working on it. Multi-platform. It's everywhere. The game's everywhere, right? On all these platforms. Look at how bad it is. Look how buggy it is. Look at how glitchy it is. You want every game? You want every game to go through that? You want every game to be spread thin like butter? Like, I'm not saying that's why Call of Duty's like that, but just look at what happens when a game tries to do so much. A game tries to essentially be everywhere. It hurts quality. COD Game of the Year for me, no contest. I mean, it didn't even get nominated. That tells you how unhealthy Activision is and why they are happy to sell. I think that's incredibly reductionist to say that Call of Duty's in the state that it is because Activision's unhealthy. It could also be because the game is spread super thin. They're doing way too much. It's on every platform. Game quality has gone down due to brain drain and talent leaving the industry, not distribution models. So, I love that you brought that up, because Sony's distribution model and their virtuous cycle model of reinvesting in their studios, if you look at the growth of their studios that they own, quality's gone up. Game quality's gone up. Compare Horizon Forbidden West to Zero Dawn. Compare Ragnarok to 2018. Size, scope, and quality of the games went up. Size and efficiency of the developers increased. And that's under a distribution model that says we are buying, intending, and investing in our ecosystem. We don't want this game to be everywhere. Now it's a quality argument, not a legal argument. Yeah, because you're claiming that accessibility is automatically better for the consumer. That's not a legal argument either. That's an opinion. That's just an opinion. Yo, Hervé with 2 months. Welcome back on a Member Plus. Hey, it's that time of the month again. I guess it is. Keep up the good work. Microsoft needs to sell part of Activision Blizzard and it'll go through. Screenshot made. New glasses incoming. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's the legal argument against it. Just because something is more accessible doesn't mean it's automatically better for the consumer. That's your opinion. Hey, 2 more orders of coffee. Somebody ordered a bag of light roast, East Coast Overlord, for my dad. Thank you so much. And Matasbo, 3 bags of dark roast. Y'all are the best. The whole legal argument is about accessibility. Everything else is secondary. Okay. If the legal argument is about accessibility, then why do people keep invoking that Sony's crying and being hypocritical? Why? Because you'd have to go to Microsoft's ecosystem to play the game. You're finagling the goalposts to suit your opinion. Just because, it's everywhere. Is it? Because if they rip a game off a PlayStation and you have to go to the Microsoft ecosystem to play it, it's not everywhere. Don't you understand? Accessibility does not automatically mean, it's better for the consumer. It uniquely impedes accessibility and market access, but they aren't ripping it off the store. They're not ripping it off the store, but that's been the concern, is that they could. Like, you're talking about accessibility as if the whole matter's been resolved. That's precisely what hasn't been resolved. Microsoft wants the deal to go through so much that they're willing to do a 10-year license agreement with Sony. I get your logic, and it has ground, but it's speculative at best. Horizon Forbidden West is a good example. Why is it a good example? Increased game size, quality, graphical fidelity. The bugs that they had in the beginning with like Poppin' or whatever, it was patched within like a month. That was typical day one bolts that needed tightened down. That game quality increased. The dev is larger now. More people. They hired more people. You want to talk about being good for the consumer. Having a healthy ecosystem, having a healthy economy of people working and not being crunched into dust. You want to talk about why game quality's gone down? It's not just brain drain and people leaving. It's crunch is also driving quality down. They're willing to do that with Sony because it will help the deal go through, but also because COD isn't the main focus of the deal to begin with. That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been trying to say, Solemn. Like, the fact that they're willing to do that, they're like, we don't care about Call of Duty. We just want the deal to go through. Microsoft said day one that COD was staying multi-plat like Minecraft. Oh, I know. And there's plenty of people in here right now that have been arguing about Microsoft and Sony crying, and they assured me that Call of Duty would go exclusive. I had a highlight recently that we published, and Mo's still here. Mo was in chat just, yep, it's going exclusive, dude. COD will go exclusive. They'll do it. They'll do it to sell Xboxes. And I was like, no, they won't. I had plenty of people that are in here right now banging on drums in favor of Microsoft that were giving me assurances that, Sony's going to lose COD. 12 months from Butters. Can't make my own good Google, so I'll just buy yours and call it mine. Thank you so much for a whole year, Butters. If it goes through, Microsoft will release about 75% of the console games. It is monopolistic, even if it's non-exclusive. I think social media and content creators are making Call of Duty and Sony the main focus of the deal, which with consumers it may be. But as far as importance goes, Microsoft isn't trying to steal COD. No, that's never been the focus. I know they fixed Horizon Forbidden West, but I'm playing it right now, and they're still popping all over the place. It must have been ridiculous on day one. It was pretty bad. I had an entire unit of enemies just appear in front of me and kill me the one time. The game industry is in a slump due to an absolute lack of creativity. It might not be a lack of creativity. It might literally be that we're dealing with plateaus of innovation. There's only so much you can do with certain game types. You know what I'm saying? There's only so much you can do with shooters and fighters and, sports games. Acquisition cost $70 billion. Well, 68 or 69 billion. Everybody just says 70 billion for the most part. People are calling Sony out because their logic for stopping the deal and being a bad thing is the same practice as Sony do, so it's hypocritical. No, that's not true. Nope. Sony has never done what Microsoft is attempting to do. Sony has never bought a company that was endemic to the Microsoft ecosystem. That just simply isn't true. That's a false claim. And Sony has never called foul on acquisitions before. They didn't care when they bought Bethesda. They didn't care when Microsoft bought Bethesda. Sony purchased Bungie. Yeah, and Bungie is no longer endemic to the Microsoft ecosystem because Bungie is not Microsoft exclusive, and Destiny has more players on Sony. So that's not an argument. Bungie doesn't have a property that's endemic to the Microsoft ecosystem. And part of that deal is that Bungie's, all their property going forward is multi-platform. That was literally written into the contract. Y'all saying lack of innovation when the place that is innovating does not have the money to innovate. I will leave it there. It's popular in the PS2 days, and you're thinking it online. COD didn't become incorporated until COD 4. I'm not sure what you're saying. Well, it seems reasonable to assume after a 10-year deal, then the logic they're using is null. I don't know. The 10-year license extension would be so that they could negotiate eventually. Eventually, Microsoft's going to want to be like, okay, yeah, Call of Duty can stay on PlayStation, but we want a better deal. We want a better cut. It's our property after all. Fast forward 10 years, Microsoft owns COD, and the 10-year license expires, and it's time to renew and renegotiate. Well, they're going to want a much better deal. They're going to be like, listen, we sell an awful lot of Call of Duty on your platform. We would like a bigger cut. None of this points hold any water when they offer a 10-year license. That was how I tried to frame this entire discussion, was the deal is continuing to get pushed back and combed over, and Microsoft is heavily committed to getting this deal to go through. My point is, why is there being made such a big deal with nobody had a problem with Sony purchasing Bungie? Do you think buying Bungie is comparable to buying Blizzard Activision? Do you hear what you're saying? I really think I really think that what's getting lost here is the size of the deal is so big that I don't think people conceive of what's actually potentially happening. Conceptually, yes. It's comparable to buying Bethesda. No, it's not. No, it's not. Oh, I'm sorry. Cisco, you're saying buying Bungie is comparable to buying Bethesda. Yes, that's what you're saying. Yeah, and neither of those acquisitions caused anybody to be like, hey, wait a minute, what's going to happen? Right? No one cared about those purchases. But when you're going to drop $70 billion on the market and buy up an entire suite of studios, it's a publisher, it's all these studios, it's all these games. Like, that's why everyone's looking at this. Why doesn't Microsoft take that $70 billion and make a COD killer then? I like that. That's good. That's good, Jesus. Yeah, that's good. If Sony could just spin up a Call of Duty competitor, well, then clearly Microsoft has the ability to do that. They've got $70 billion to buy an entire suite of studios. They've got the money. Why don't they do it? Why doesn't Sony make a COD killer? Same question for Microsoft. Microsoft has deeper pockets. Microsoft proper, not the Xbox Gaming division. Microsoft's got deeper pockets. Why don't they do it? Sony's arguments in court are on the merits of Xbox making Call of Duty exclusive and how they will hurt Sony and how and its users. Yo, Dodeva's coming back in with a Reforge membership and it's 11 months. Thank you, sir. While this is a practice, they do more than any other player in the market. Yo, Dodevas is going to gift 5 members, pushing us past our daily member goal. Thank you so much for doing that. Y'all are going to see a bunch of names pop up right here. Corey, Viceroy, Anbu, Zuth, and Alistair Ross. Guys, let's keep it going. We already had some people pay it forward today. Let's see how far beyond the goal we can get. Let's get back to 1,000 members. I believe we can do it. Morning. Just been in meetings per normal. If you need anyone to play with you on Darktide, let me know. I've been playing pre-beta and beta. Oh, thank you, Polarin. I ran into Nadia last game. She was cheating on Warzone. Tell me something new. Tell me something new. Well, I'm not asking why doesn't Sony make a COD killer. It's that they should use that 10-year deal to try to do just that. It's if for no reason than to not need to rely on Microsoft contracts for COD. I don't disagree with you on that front, but listen, the giant challenge is Call of Duty is so insanely big, there is no COD killer that isn't COD itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's too big. It's too big. SOCOM had its moments. Lono, I have one request. Change the member goal font. What is that? Comic Sans? It's Arial. Oh, yeah, we usually do, hang on. We usually do Montserrat. I thought I had it set to Montserrat. Hang on a second. Hang on. Okay. Montserrat black. Is that better? That's better. There we go. That's not so obnoxious. It was Arial. Abe, I expect some gifted members now that I did that for you. Okay? Come on. Come on. Pay up. You owe me for that font change. What if everybody who gifts a 5-bomb gets to pick the font? Can we get wingdings on there? Folks talking about making a COD killer is just nonsense. It's like killing the golden goose. It makes bank for everyone. Yo, my man Abe. That's it. That's my man. Apollyon, Gamer Chef, The Sauce God, Calvin Brown, and Soulman Grim. You guys are all members. Don't forget, every day we take a lunch break with members, and we're now doing segments in there. We got 21 out of 15 on the goal. Did we do a stretch goal? What do you think we can hit today? What do you guys think we can hit? What do you think? Should we do a stretch goal? Sony only comments on the Bethesda deal was Microsoft honor the existing deals and not kill them. Yeah. Yeah, and I thought that was fine. I think it's totally fine to be like, hey, we want... gifteds are not trials anymore, Irene. We are not doing that. We have membership, membership plus, and VIP. Anybody who upgraded to like the $6 membership plus, I'm going to give them extra content. So if you ever want to upgrade for the $1, do it, but you don't have to. A member is a member. All members only streams will be open to all members. So we didn't think that was a good idea. We overreacted to the gift. We had that big gifting thing happen, and then everything dropped, and we overreacted. So I'm totally fine with people wanting to do higher levels of membership and getting more content, but we're not taking content away from members. That's the motto. A member is a member. Nobody's been able to make a more successful shooter than Activision. What makes you guys think that even working 10 years later on a COD killer would be any different? Listen, people that say just make a Call of Duty killer aren't really seeing the picture. The game is so big and so massive, the only COD killer is Call of Duty itself. Hey, let's go. Danzatastic gifting 10 members and Violent Baloney. Thank you so much for doing that. There we go. Spartan of Doom, Jimmy Ludwig, Rockin' Robin, Paul, Seneca King, Ready, Set, Dead, GNS, R5 Boozy, Dynamite Black, and Dylan. You guys all got gifted a member. Feel free to pay it forward. That's 11, so that takes us to, what is that, 32? Holy moly. 32. We've doubled the goal. I love that username, Violent Baloney. Yeah, Violent Baloney, thank you for paying and picking up your own membership. Welcome to Reforge Gaming. I hope you guys enjoy those member segments we're doing now. We've got a new one today, so make sure you're here for that. I'd love to see Bungie make a COD-style game. I think it might work. What do y'all mean by COD killer? Well, not a COD killer, but like something to compete with Call of Duty. I don't think it'll happen. It's too big. Solemn says, I agree, but I foresee those studios downsizing after the acquisition, or at the very least being utilized for non-Call of Duty stuff. I don't think with the new COD release model that they will need all those people. I mean, listen. If y'all think that this acquisition doesn't... Hang on a second. That's... You guys are hijacking. Can I come back? No, it's still going. It's fine. If you guys want to keep gifting and keep hijacking my alerts, go for it. They need the staff for the new releases. They're trying to maintain 4 core games. Yes. However, if you think the deal goes through and Microsoft doesn't downsize and gut a bunch, I think that we're dreaming. They will 100% do that. What's Members Wednesday topic? I haven't told you yet. You get to find out as a member. We're eventually going to have thumbnails, so it'll be blatantly obvious. So I'm not trying to be super secretive. Today is going to be Watch List Wednesday. It's going to be looking at games to put on your watch list, games that I'm paying attention to, and you guys can contribute because there's a game suggestion room in the Discord. Yesterday, we did a bunch of new trailers. It was hilarious. If you missed it and you're not a member, holy moly, become one and go watch it. We laughed a lot. There are some really bad trailers out there. Just popped in to say PlayStation is crying, and I love Phil. Cool. How big is your Phil Spencer tattoo? Basido with a 14-month membership renewal on the Member Plus, testing the new stream alert and celebrating the new content for members. Thank you, Basido. Unfortunately, those renewals don't hit. They need to fix that. Downsize in what way? I wouldn't exactly miss Sledgehammer Games. It's just... Thank you for the $5 tip, Robert Jones. McDonald's is the biggest COD killer. Source, fish fillet sales. Oh my gosh. Robert, get that alert off of here. I'm trying to get out of here. That's a terrible joke. Your position's unclear. Can you tell me using Arnold and Mila in a trailer? That was so funny. It was so funny. Zubair is referencing something from the thing, so there you go. You guys, that's a reason right there to become a member. that freaking trailer. Oh my gosh. All I want to say about yesterday is Arnold is the man. That's right. That's right. So we doing dad jokes? Listen, if you want to do a dad joke, you got to either gift members or tip $5. I'm not reading dad jokes unless you pay me. You must pay me if you want me to read dad jokes. What was I saying? Yesterday's lunch break had me rolling. It was pretty good. Hang on. I want to read what Jesus said because Jesus thinks it's not going through. Jesus said, the deal will get blocked. We will laugh and move on. And even if it goes through, Microsoft will find a way to ruin every IP under Activision. They won't stop sucking at gaming. Listen, I am not anti-Microsoft, but I have my concerns about them suddenly owning a bunch of gaming property because they're not doing the greatest job, right? It's concerning. If you look at 343 and then you look at Starfield's unknown future, I'm concerned. And that none of what I just said is hate. It's literally just me saying, I don't know, man. This is a problem. This could not end up going the road and route that everybody wants it to. Do you know what I'm saying? Is Lono taking the walk to Poland? Huh? Facts, bring back Def Jam and Army of Two. Even Kane and Lynch and Max Payne. I think it'd be so hard to bring some of those games back because so many people aren't familiar with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just not familiar with any of those titles. So you'd have to almost like get their brand awareness back up and running. Does that make sense? It's such a poor legal argument to hold up if they are fine with concessions with Call of Duty. Right, but in general, man, what is going on? YouTube is being really, really weird with shorts. I did 2 shorts on 2 different channels, and they're literally sitting at no views. They're doing something. It isn't just about COD. Starfield being rocky is more Bethesda than Microsoft, just like Fallout 76 was a disaster. You know I've got theories there, Anbu. It's like, why did they go from like the data is set in ink? What happened? Like, what happened? The only thing that I can come up with is they got bought. Have you published them? Yeah. Yeah, I published both of them, and they're literally sitting at no views. I've never seen it before. Yo, Vengeance renewed, and it's a VIP membership. Can we all just agree that Sony bad while any other company is superior? Loney won't agree, though, because he's gone full Sony fanboy. Seriously, though? F Sony? I don't... You know, it's interesting. I'll tell you what happens. I'm a fan of every platform. But I'm a fan of every console and every platform, but the people that come in and are anti-Sony, they make me sound like a Sony fanboy. You're the one who's an anti-fan, not me. You come in and attack Sony, and I have to defend them and like, yep, see Sony fanboy. I would do the same thing if people came in and were making fun of or attacking Microsoft in illogical ways. I would do the same thing. I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, I like all of the platforms and want all the platforms to do well. You come in and make me defend one of them because you're the anti-fan. Now, I'm not talking specifically to Vengeance, but you know what I'm saying? That's what happens in these scenarios that we have where people are like, yeah, he's just a Sony fanboy. And it's like, no, you've defended both sides and even PC. That's what I mean. Like, oh yeah, show me that Steam Deck. Okay, all right, fine. I don't have a Steam Deck. That is true. That's true. I don't have a Steam Deck. I am the anti-Sony fan. Right. You being an anti-Sony fan doesn't make me a Sony fanboy. Right? Carthrick, thanks for being a new subscriber. Welcome on in. If you want to do one better, consider becoming a member. You guys are the best. Thanks for doing all the things, smashing all the buttons today. If you've never been here before, I'm a Safe for Work broadcaster, and Not only am I Safer Work broadcaster, but we do shows like this Monday through Friday. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that bell button. And we will be doing a second show today. We'll be checking out Warhammer Darktide. Right now, we're talking about the Xbox Activision Blizzard deal. And we're debating lots of pieces of it. Let me see if I have a discussion question. All right, let's consider this. Because when I was talking about it with Creature, he was like, it sounds like Microsoft's having to give up way too much for this deal. Okay? And that's my question to you. Is Microsoft losing too much in the deal? Having to do a 10-year license with Sony for COD, having to constantly debate this in the public, right? Are they losing? Are they losing in this deal? Or is it worth it because there's just so much property and profit that they're willing and ready to just lose a bunch on the front end? Right? Because that's where I sit. Where I sit is, it's like Microsoft is willing to literally lose a ton on the front end because there's so much to be gained here. There's legitimate concern within Microsoft that Microsoft scuttles the deal. Yeah, I saw a report that said that. It said that there are people internal close to the deal that are growing concerned that the whole thing's going to get shut down. They're just going to be like, this isn't worth the trouble. What are they realistically losing? Well, think of it like this. When you're spending that kind of money on this kind of a purchase, and you're essentially saying, but we're also going to make sure and do all this stuff for our competitor, that's potential loss. It's like, well, we're losing power in the deal from the front end. Now, you could look at it another way and say they're not really losing anything. If they suddenly own Call of Duty, they'll be making a ridiculous amount of money right out of the gate. Does that make sense? That's one of the things that I've been trying to say is Microsoft seems so committed and so willing to quote unquote lose on the front end because there is so much to be made from the purchase. There is no loss. They have a plan. COD's a small part of a bigger picture. That's what I mean. Think about suddenly having the profit margins from all of the mobile software that they would own. Think about that. Just forget about Call of Duty for a second. Just think about overnight suddenly being like, hey, we're getting the profit margins. We're getting the benefit of owning King. Candy Crush, right? I'd be shocked if they backed out of the deal. It would hurt both companies and probably cost Phil his job. The amount of money that COD or Candy Crush bring in those 10 years pays for the 10-year fold. Pays for the deal tenfold. Sure. Yeah, I don't disagree. But the concern is we're giving up too much. We're going to back out of this. We don't want to do this anymore. Microsoft would lose $1 billion or more if it doesn't go through just from the creation of the deal, not to mention the revenue if it didn't go through. Excuse me. Every time I come in here, I always say it's Game Pass. What's Game Pass? What do you mean? What point are you making about Game Pass? It's $3 billion for the breakup fee. Microsoft will lose around $3 billion if the deal doesn't pass. Jiminy Christmas. God is chump change compared to the mobile side. There's been a couple interviews where Phil Spencer has essentially said, "Yeah, we want the mobile games. That's the play." Right? Activision insiders fret the $69 million Microsoft merger could fall apart, according to the New York Post. They can license Crash, Spyro, StarCraft, Warcraft, Prototype, etc. A bunch of devs would jump at the opportunity to make those games. As an Xbox fan, I would not care if every game was on PS5. Just give it to me on Game Pass. There you go. There's your Xbox user base right there in a nutshell. You could make an argument that they bought at the wrong time and are overpaying for a tech asset. No. I don't think that they bought at the wrong time. The market was depressed. I don't think so. I think they bought at a good time. I mean, also, there's we didn't want to include this today, but there is a company. Did we get rid of that? Yeah, we got rid of that. We had that in a room, and I was going to use it. There was a company there. I forget where it is. They're basically saying that Microsoft took advantage here of Activision and the situation that they were in. They're making it all about like Bobby Kotick. They're like, this is just taking advantage of the situation, and they're going to try and cover up everything that happened. I didn't want to include that in today's coverage because of all of the words that we have to say when we talk about that. There's a lawsuit out there claiming Microsoft and Activision colluded. Yeah, like, let's do this to brush this under the rug, and yeah, there's a lawsuit brewing about that potentially, according to xputer.com. But I did not want to go down that rabbit hole today and talk about that guy and that situation. I prefer not to. WoW on Xbox would be incredible. Nice eyebrow movement. Yeah, Microsoft. It's not xputer. I'm sorry, xfire.com, claiming that they're being sued by a Swedish agency. Yeah. Yep. And if they discover that it was that puts a lot of potential things in jeopardy. Listen, man, I like paying $10 a month to play multiple games that I missed out on. I didn't want to try for $60. Now we got to take the risk of spending $70 for games may not even feel was worth it. I mean, I don't have to do that on PlayStation. I have premium, and I just try the game under a trial, and then if I like it, I can buy it. You know? Reforge, it makes sense. When's the last time someone talked about him? About Kotick. This takes the heat off him, and he still is there running Activision right now. He'd be gone now if it wasn't for this deal. I think you just have a disdain for the Game Pass model because it's different. No. Just like people did with Netflix. You can't stop the future. Don't be a gaming snob. Well, if Netflix is any indication of where things are headed, I'm not being a snob, and I don't need to try to stop the future. And Microsoft's on record saying that Game Pass is already plateaued on console, and Game Pass will only make up 15% of their revenue. So I don't need to have disdain for it. It's already hit its threshold, and it's not going to represent the primary revenue funnel for Microsoft. They're already playing it down, and they've missed projections, they've missed marks, and they've basically admitted that Game Pass has hit saturation on console. Now, there's chance for growth on PC that could be really good for Microsoft, but even when they said that, they didn't envision Game Pass making up more than 15% of their revenue. I don't think that's the streaming future. I'm sorry, I don't think that's the gaming future. Now, what I do think Microsoft is doing that is a part of the future of gaming is cloud-based gaming. I do. I think that's going to take infrastructure updates. I think internet infrastructure needs to get much better, but I do think cloud-based gaming is where things will be headed, and they're ahead of the curve on that. I mean to ask, Microsoft reported 10 million short of projections. Where did they think 35 million subs were coming from? Yeah, I don't know. But you do also have disdain for it, old man. The future called. It's here now and wants you to move your car. You're blocking its driveway. Wait, what was this analogy about? Lono, that's said with the user base right now. No. They were saying going forward, they don't envision it being more than 15%. I think I myself was incorrect and overstated the primacy of Game Pass. I don't think Game Pass is this big, huge focal point for them. I don't think it is. It's not. It's there. It's part of the ecosystem, and it's important to them. It's important to their marketing and their funnel. But They're like, nah, man, we've hit saturation on console, and it'll probably make up 15% of the gaming revenue for the foreseeable future. Both Disney and Netflix are putting films in theaters again. Why do you think that is? There's no difference between a game being available for a month and a game being available in a subservice forever. Watch when Starfield comes out. I bet you the subs will go up. I mean, they're not saying that, so I would think that they would be a more reliable predictor and projection of trajectory for their growth. The number will go up, but it'll still only be 15%. It's another option is all. Yeah, I mean, they even said as they see it growing on PC, they don't see it exceeding 15%. Like, and you have to remember, that's 15% of all the revenue. Why are they saying that? Because they're anticipating their revenue going up, and it's always going to be a smaller slice of it will be Game Pass. Does that make sense? Like, if they suddenly are making tons of money on all their property on other platforms like mobile, and they're selling Call of Duty on PlayStation, Game Pass is growing alongside of that, but Game Pass is always making up 15%. Starfield will have just as many players on Steam as it does on Game Pass PC. Probably. Yes, by 100 million consoles sold with 15% is different than 50 million. Right, like, I wasn't trying to say that Game Pass is dead and done and not going anywhere. It's not the future if even with their infrastructure growth, it's always at a 15%. That's not the future. It's a part of what they're doing. I think a lot of us thought that was their play. Game Pass is their play. And I think it's proven already to have hit a point where they're like, yeah, it's part of what we're doing, but it's not the main goal. It's always going to hover around 15% of our revenue. They're going to be getting lots more revenue from other places. I don't know why someone would sub to Game Pass for Starfield. There will be an influx of people, especially right now, who probably canceled Game Pass that will jump back in once Starfield is out. But I don't think it's going to be this massive influx. I don't think a lot of people sub and then unsub and then sub later. It's the smart move, but I think a lot of us just pay every month regardless. Oh, for sure. How well do you think the Xbox streaming box will sell? They shuttered that. That's not even happening now, right? They couldn't get it to they wanted it to be somewhere between $100 and $200. And because they couldn't do that, the whole thing's been canceled, I thought. Direct to consumer is where they make the money. How much do you think operating costs of these services is? Yeah, they canceled the streaming box. I just want titles Activision hasn't touched to get revived again. If Pentiment is anything to go by, Microsoft's willing to take risks. Hey, another new member. Man, you guys are crushing it today. Broken Messiah. And you picked Member Plus. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to go back to my scene here, and I'm going to update that. 33. We only had a goal of 15. You guys blew that out of the water. Keep going. Let's see how high we can get it. I cannot wait for the eventual price increase for Game Pass. I want to see people champion paying the same price as purchasing a game on sale as they are for the subscription to play the game. Watch, it's amazing they grew this much with no big release. But Mike, a lot of their... You gotta be careful. Like, you're doing that like doe-eyed optimism thing. If Microsoft doesn't have that level of optimism, I don't know why you do. And you have to think about how many people increased the sub count because they were giving it away for $1. Do you know what I'm saying? Like $1. People were converting up to Game Pass for like $1 and getting like multiple years. By the way, your voice, what's up? It's just that time of year where the temperature's going up and down, so I periodically have to like clear my throat. I feel fine. I'm not like coughing or anything. I'm not congested. It's just we went from 30-degree weather to yesterday it was in the 60s. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So it always messes with my voice a little bit. They've got something going on with Samsung where it'll be built into Samsung TVs. Well, yeah, but the dongle, the streaming box got canceled because of the price point, right? I don't think the dilemma on TVs is going to be that big of a deal, right? If you suddenly have to increase the price of a television by a couple $100, no one's going to bat an eye at that. Oh, this television's $300 more than I kind of expected it to be. Oh, that's not. There's no fear there, right? That there's no concern. But trying to sell a standalone dongle for more than $200 wasn't going to fly. All the market research they did, it needed to be between $99 and $199, and they couldn't get it there. Everyone in my family has Game Pass. They fit to come out with a family plan, right? Listen. You might be completely misunderstanding me. Okay? I don't think that Game Pass is in trouble or not a good deal. I have it myself. Okay? I have it myself. That's not the issue. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you can't look at Game Pass as like the central funnel model for Microsoft going forward. Even they don't see it that way. It's a part of what they're doing. It doesn't have this central premise that we thought that it did. We canceled all of our subs for 1 month, and we looked at what we really wanted and missed. You and Game Pass were my choices to rejoin. I appreciate that. Way too good of a deal right now if you have 5 people willing to pay. I'm surprised at the level of posturing from regulators. For the size of the deal, I get that they can't just wave it through, but this was the easy buy for Microsoft. The next one will be the hard one. I don't know. This has been a hard one because there's so many people that are looking at it and concerned. You picked Lono over HBO Max. That's kind of sus. Forest for the trees. That's right. Let me give you guys a total. Let's see how much of a dent you put in it. Ooh, 796. You guys got us almost to 800. We're getting there. Thanks to everybody who gifted or jumped in on your own today for members. We appreciate you. Game Pass was also dope because they ran a lot of original Xbox exclusives you cannot simply get anymore that made it worth it. FTC ain't going to do I don't know, man. I feel like the FTC's kind of hungry to stop tech consolidation. They don't seem to like it. Lono's a better deal than HBO Max. He's not quite Disney, but it's close. Listen. We're, $5. 2 shows a day, and then an extra segment. Like, we do a lot here. It's well worth it. I'm cheaper than any other streaming service out there. You're going to get way more. Remember how Forza 5 could be played even earlier than day 1 if you bought the premium edition? That was BS. That's a new thing, yeah, like pre-ordering or doing the big digital bundle, blah, 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 and you get like a day. You know what I mean? Yeah, the FTC recently blocked Facebook in a purchase. Yeah. Lono is the homie, but I call BS on that one. BS on what one? Don't look at what they're saying in this Activision deal. You agree both sides aren't being true or downright playing, right? No, I don't. I don't think that either side is being dishonest. Right? After a few drinks, Lono kind of looks like Mickey Mouse. After a few drinks. MickDO9 says it's $5 freaking. Get a membership. Need Lono content all day at work. That's right. Right. We've been saying it. Memberships are the lifeblood, and we need to be at a certain threshold if y'all want 6 hours of streams every day. That's the reality. You guys got to get committed. You got to get involved. And some people are. Some people are catching the vision and gifting again. We need that. The reason Windows has no real competition in the OS area is because back in the day, they bought out their competition and got exposed for it. That is what's happening here. They'll get sued by Xbox and Activision. FTC ain't got time for that. I can't lose no lawsuit with his ratings right now. I don't know why you're bringing up. Did you mean to type Biden? I don't think he has anything to do with it. They're absolutely shading their arguments to be more favorable to their point of view, but dishonesty is a big leap. Yeah, you're always going to represent things to make things look favorable for your company, of course. Yo, what's good, Swag Lord? Xbox is dishonest. They at first say COD will remain on Sony, then they do a 10-year deal for COD to remain. That's not... No. That's not dishonest. Thank you so much for 11 months, Ration. Thank you so much. One more month until Golden Badge. That's it. I support crap like this for a living, but let's be real. There are no Targaryens here. Microsoft offered COD a 10-year after Sony said COD was an existential threat if removed. Sony was quiet on it, and Microsoft is looking to talk through EU regs first and then come back to the FTC after. Yeah, the 10-year thing came out of the EU regulator looking at it because they want answers by January. Nobody was asking for a forever contract. Listen, Microsoft's not being dishonest, but they're going to do a 10-year license agreement, and then they're going to want to renegotiate. They're going to like, well, we own the property by then. If it's ours, then we want to be able to renegotiate the deal at some point. They're not going to suddenly, 10 years down the road, rip Call of Duty and make it, a Call of Duty Xbox exclusive. That's not what they're going to do. They want to be in a position to negotiate. Perpetuity, I think, is their preferred word. Yeah, like in perpetuity. They have plans to leave it there in perpetuity. They don't have plans to take it from that. I don't think that there's some underhanded, smoke and mirrors going on. Yo, what's good, Abe? Thanks, man. Or not what's good. Good to have you here, man. Appreciate you. How was that dishonesty? Activision didn't even give Sony 10 years. Why would Microsoft give them more than 10? That doesn't even make sense. The fact that Microsoft's willing to give them the 10-year license is a huge deal. I think Sony takes it. I missed a bunch of morning shows, but I'm glad to be back. Well, welcome back. Great way to keep these morning shows going is to click that join button. Jump in. We'll be going to a lunch break with members, and our second stream after that's Darktide. We're going to be playing Warhammer Darktide, and when we take that break and I hang out with the members in that lunch break, we've launched new segments, so we got another one coming for you today. Activision did give them a 10-year deal, exclusive content deal for $100 million. When did they do that? What are you talking about? They want to make money, so of course they want to renegotiate. Right, like if the deal goes through, Microsoft wants to be able to be like, okay, listen, Sony, we love selling software on your platform, but we'd like to be able to renegotiate the deal. Like the licensing deal with Sony is probably not just, oh, you get Call of Duty. Sony has like contracts with the marketing. They've got contracts more than likely with, some of the early access that we got with the betas and stuff. I don't know. I think they want to. Sony wants to keep that stranglehold as long as they can. That's a big deal. To be pushing out that stuff. Monster Hunter Rise is coming to current gen consoles and Game Pass in 2023. Wow. Why haven't they taken the deal then? I'm curious, what will you think if they drag this out? You're looking through the wrong end of the telescope and you're looking at the ground. That's not... What do you mean they take the deal? This isn't up to Sony. It's not like Sony says, okay, that's fine, move the deal forward, we're cool with it now. There is something happening in January. It's right here. The deadline for the European Commission, which is investigating the deal, to set out a formal list of competition concerns known as a statement of objection is in January. Offering remedies before such a document is issued could shorten the regulatory process. The potential 10-year licensing deal, that's one of the remedies that Microsoft's putting forward. They're responding to the EU. Everyone's making it about Sony. No, Sony is a part of the dialogue, but Sony's not sitting there with the wand that they can wave over the deal and make it go through. It's the European Commission. They need to be satisfied. Not just them. The FTC might get involved. I don't even know if the CMA's done with it either. So that remedy, Microsoft putting forward a remedy and saying, hey, you have this list of concerns and complaints. It's a statement of objection. It's going to roll out in January. We are going to do this to answer one of your issues. Microsoft's having direct interaction with regulatory bodies. Sony is not sitting there at the table being like, it's good now. Let it go through. Yeah, it's fine now. It's not up to them. Sony is a reference point as a market player. All the gov regs can accept or ignore their advice at their leisure. Yeah, they don't have to take. They don't. It's not. Sony is in the dialogue, but they're not at the table with any sense of power over what happens. They will have purchased the company well over the value of the market. Microsoft won't recoup that loss by anticipated revenue. This is revenue that Microsoft would have gotten anyway if the deal was approved. I feel like you contradicted yourself. I don't understand what you're saying. You know what I mean, though. Sony could say, okay, regulators, I think the 10-year deal is cool. I have no issue. What the competition thinks does help. Sure, but Mike, you also have to understand something. The list of objections that are going to hit in January from the European Commission, it's not just about Sony. Microsoft has to have an answer to all those things. The one that everybody can, relate to and latch on to and understand is licensure to Sony. Like, that's easy for people to latch on to and say, oh, I get it. They want to make commitments to Sony in Call of Duty. But I don't think that's the only thing on the table. There's also concerns about the PC market. I've not looked at the European Commission's list because it's not out yet. I don't know if you can see if they've got a draft, but there might also be concerns about the mobile market. Y'all need to look into the Ticketmaster issue we're having now. Yeah, you said something about that earlier, Butters. You think that's that's analogous to what might happen here? I always get those Spotify Wraps, and they're so worthless because we just run the same playlist all day. We just run the same playlist all day. I have to sit closer. The lighting has helped with autofocus, but it still loves to grab that display, and I don't know why. It's supposed to be always central. That's the problem. They purchase a company in decline, and the fact that the company market value is steady in decline means that they will have paid way more than the company is worth. Well, sure, but no. That doesn't mean that they can't make the money back. I don't think that that's logically connected. Does your camera not have eye focus? I don't think the Sony A6000 has eye focus. I think it has facial recognition, which is really weird. Like, how more face of a face could I have? I have a big forehead. I have a beard. I wear glasses. Shouldn't be too hard to find my face. That ain't a face. Maybe it thinks, I don't know, maybe something with the letters, it thinks that there's a face back there somehow. I don't know. Your face is not face enough. I'm not face. I need more face. No, I don't like manual focus. It's hard to get it exactly right. And then if I want to hold something up and be like, yeah, guys, check this out. Like, that, being able to do that is so nice, especially once we have those coffee bags. I can't stand manual focus. And the truth comes out. Using a Sony camera, Loney confirmed. Using a Sony camera? How about 2 Sony cameras? Glasses are hard for face recognition. That's why they don't like you wearing them for passports. Oh, guys. This is how... How about 2 PS5s? Yeah, I have 2 PS5s as well. Yo, my wife and I were playing this game last night. We were looking at playing this. I found it on Steam, and it was on my wish list, and I never went back to it because I was like, I hate trying to play computer games in the living room, right? I have a rig out there we can play on. It's called Dismantle, and we're playing it on the PlayStation 5. We tried Ship of Fools. I didn't realize that Ship of Fools was like kind of it's a rogue, and the combat leaves a lot to be desired for. I didn't find it to be that satisfying. Ship of Fools is cool, but we didn't like it. Dismantle is a blast. We had a lot of fun with that last night. You don't make money on the market value of shares you purchase unless you sell those shares back to the market. This is why you buy low and sell high. But they're not buying shares. They're buying the company. Like, they're acquiring the company, which means they then own the property. They then own everything that generates all that revenue. I don't understand. They're not buying shares and then trying to sell high. They're trying to buy a company, and then it gets folded into their gaming revenue model. Lono just disappeared and some dude was in the chair briefly. It was crazy. Don't do that. I told you it was startling. Sorry. I gotta do it again. Revenue and book value are distinct concerns. They're not necessarily worried about share prices. Right, like that's a part of it, but I don't think that, you know what I'm saying? He says as he does it again. Sorry. I've been addicted to Vampire Survivor since it was on early access on PC only, and now I've been playing on Xbox and Steam Deck. P.S. Make sure you support brands like Gamer Advantage. I don't think they are owned by Luxottica. I don't know what does that have to... Huh? Haven't looked where they get glasses and sunglasses from in years. How's that having to do with Ticketmaster? What? Did you see the EU thing with Apple and Google mobile app? To me, that helps Microsoft since their ABK deal is them creating a third-party app market. That sentence fell apart. I'm not sure what you were trying to say. People are just hung up on the price per share math because that's what hit the news. Can you do me a favor and just get a sunglasses tattoo? You know why I love Gamer Advantage? Because I can do that. Super easy. And I love these ones. These ones are reflective. The ones I had yesterday, they're like black. Make sure and use code Lono at gameradvantage.com. Their glasses are great. No reflection, blue light blocking. They're amazing. Anyone who hasn't tried Vampire Survivors, I highly recommend it. Asmongold played it a lot. Would it have been better for Microsoft to just buy shares, maybe 50% instead of buying the whole company? No, they want them. They want the games. Homie, they don't just want the games. They want mobile. There's a couple interviews where they've basically said that. They're like, yo, we want mobile, baby. Oh, we're talking about monopolizing an industry. Luxottica basically is the only game when it comes to glasses and sunglasses. They made it so hard for Oakley to sell sunglasses and drove their stock price down and bought them. It's a very long and complicated story. Oh, okay. I was like, how does that have anything to do with Ticketmaster? You can only put on those lenses if you're listening to loud techno. That's right, that's right. You can't buy that much without triggering a takeover. It'd be highly illegal. Buying shares doesn't solve Activision's problems either. Right. Buying 50% of the shares for control doesn't work. Companies often issue more shares to prevent a hostile takeover, outside party acquiring. Right. You're probably right, but I don't think that changes long-term goals and plans. It may delay any bumps in share value, but they expect to get there anyway. That's an area where I'm not educated enough to speak on it, but my armchair understanding is, look, they want the software so that they can then distribute tons of software and make tons of money on it. They're going to one of the most lucrative publishers of gaming software, and they're trying to buy it. Like, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the simple view of it. I don't think they're like, oh, share value this, share value that. I really don't think that that's an issue. I don't. Activision Blizzard will not be traded after this deal. That person is off on the wrong path. What do you mean it won't be traded? Oh, on the stock market? Why not? What reason? What's the reason for that? Shares will be delisted like Twitter. Corey's saying Microsoft bought a used car for $20,000, but the market kept dropping, and you could buy the same car today for $15,000. So they're overpaying in a way. Oh, I mean, sure, but again, it'll cease to exist as a separate entity. Okay, I get it. Lono, you're in charge. What would it take for you to let the deal to go through? I would need the most reasonable, concrete assurances that they will not do things to the mobile, PC, and console market that will be market restrictive and ultimately bad for the consumer. I would need the most concrete and reasonable assurances that I could get out of them. I don't need a contract that says forever. I don't need something that locks Microsoft into a bad deal, right? I would need to know, hey, these markets are huge. You're talking about things that are global. Mobile and PC market, global, massive, so much money. That's what I would need. And I don't think I'm alone in that. Like, I think the regulators are looking at it and saying, this has ramifications in the PC market. This has ramifications in PC tech market. This has ramifications on mobile. It has ramifications on Sony. None of this is out of step. Like, I'm not saying something that's weird. I'd rather have them buy Activision. If it doesn't go through, they'll use $70 billion for something else. I personally don't care about COD, so I hope this goes through. Yeah, COD's not going to get affected by this at all, though. That's what just keeps getting lost in the shuffle. I think Game Pass and subscription services will mess Microsoft up. If COD can't be on other subscription services, that stifles competition in that market dramatically. Yeah, that was one of the concerns that Sony had, too. Like, multi-game subscription services, they want to remain competitive on that front, and it'd be really hard to do that if suddenly every Activision Blizzard piece of property could only go to one subscription funnel and no others. The problem I have is the automatic lights going off in my company's bathroom after 10 minutes when I'm dealing with hot lava. I'm still in here. Hey! I think Game Pass and subscription... Oh, I already read that. Unfortunately, COD was never on my subscription service, so I don't see how that will work. Oh, it was never on any subscription service. Well, once Microsoft owns it, I think that would change. It is just Sony complaining. Yeah, the EU is gearing up to probe Microsoft. Over what? Over Slack's complaint. Yeah. Another company weighing in. Hang on. Another company weighing in here. The EU is gearing up to probe Microsoft over Slack's complaint. As per Reuters, or Reuters, Microsoft might face an EU antitrust investigation in connection with a complaint filed by Slack that alleged that the bundling of Teams with Office product suites unfairly hurts competition. Beyond Good and Evil is still in early development. That game's never coming out. As long as they don't start asking Microsoft to change nothing to benefit only them, that's not a fair thing to request either. I think Microsoft only has a responsibility to not hurt the other companies. Thank you, Lono, for reading that. I needed that. Hey, man, Docs and Doomslayer are in chat right now, and they usually have memberships. Let's get some more gifteds going. Let's get some of these loyal homies back under the fold. Let's get back on top. Let's get to 1,000 members. We already have 33 members today, which is way more than we asked for. It's amazing. 17 more would be 50. That'd be a great, great day. And we will be over in a members only like lunch break soon. We got a new segment for you. Finish the other part of the message. What do you mean? I don't see another part of the message. As long as they don't start asking Microsoft to change nothing to benefit only them, that's not a fair thing to request either. I think Microsoft only has a responsibility to not hurt the other companies too. Is there supposed to be a second part, or did I just not read the word too? Sure, Sony doesn't want the deal to go through. COD's the most selling game on PlayStation for years. Oh, Docs is going to do it on his own. He's like, hey. He's like, don't call me out. He's like, I don't need a gifted. I'll take care of myself. 34 new members today. My man, thank you. Sony will continue paying third-party exclusivity, paying companies to not put games on Game Pass. They never paid to have a game not go on Game Pass. That's false. That was a false headline. I would do it if I could right now. Yeah, Doom, we'll take care of you. If any of you are in chat right now and you can't afford a membership, we'll take care of you. I think our new incentives will drive more people. Finish the first part. Oh, I'm sorry. Not hurt other companies too much, but not keep them equally benefited. I see it now. I thought usually you type like big messages, so my eyes glanced right over like a short one. Yeah, what game did they pay to keep off Game Pass? There's no evidence of that. That was a false headline. I'd become a member, but I've got IRL stuff going on and also saving for a PS5. No worries, Kylock. You guys that are here all the time, if people gift, you will get them. We're refostering that idea of like, hey, let's get back on the horse here. We've got awesome content for members. Let's see it. I wish I could do a membership myself, but my currency just felt like a rock in relation to the dollar. You're good, Dark Star. I mean, you still have one right now. Xbotters want the deal to go through as they think it's their ace in their attempts to sabotage PlayStation. What's good, this Reverence? How are you? Yeah, that's the thing. I think like a lot of the dialogue gets muddied by that, Fen. It's like, yeah, that's like this isn't going to do anything for you against Sony. Bingo Mo. They could if they want, but they don't because they don't believe in the model. So then why are they afraid Microsoft puts their game on Game Pass? Mo says they can just put their games day and date and they'll compete easily. No, they don't need to compete with their own games. No. That doesn't even make any sense. Sony doesn't need to compete with Microsoft with their own titles. That's a nonsensical statement. God of War Ragnarok broke tons of records as far as week one, day one sales go. I kept getting emailed gifted memberships so frequent. Watchers are definitely getting subs. Got one today. That's like 5 months in a row. Good to hear it, Dylan. Good to hear it. Hope you're good. Great show as usual. Can't listen live as much. Started a new job, but will always support you. Thank you, Rekadek. Like, you know what I'm saying? No, you're good, Wolfie. You're good. Just be here as often as you can. We'll get some of those guys to come back in and start going crazy. We just need them to not go too crazy. I don't need 800 members in one stream. You know, I need 50. let's slow walk this time, okay? Can we not do what we did last time? It gave me whiplash, all right? That's fine. So when COD is first party, it can go to Game Pass then and not be on Sony's. See, but now you're not making a fair comparison. Oh no, I did my part and I subscribed. Now please turn the lights back on in the bathroom. That's not a fair comparison, Mo. PlayStation not putting God of War Ragnarok on PS Plus because they have fostered an ecosystem where people buy games at full price instead of expecting them to be on a subscription funnel. That ecosystem generates tons of revenue for them. That has nothing to do with Microsoft suddenly owning all of Activision Blizzard software and saying, we're going to put it on our subscription service and it can never be on yours. Like, you're also assuming that Sony has an interest in putting Call of Duty on PS Plus day and date. They don't. They wouldn't want to do that, but maybe they eventually would want to put it on there. Maybe there's DLC coming out. Maybe a year in, there's some new price thing that they're doing, like, oh yeah, buy this and do that for this mission. And they're like, well, now would be a great time to put Call of Duty on our subscription model. And then you have a company saying, nope, can't do it. Okay, well, that's not presently a problem. That becomes a market problem. That's not our problem. Sure it is. Yep. If right now Sony can say, hey, we want to put Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on PlayStation Plus in June of 2023, they can do that. And if Microsoft buys it and then blocks that from happening, that's a legitimate concern to say, now, wait a minute. Prior to this deal, that was something we could do in the market, and now we can't. You're restricting our ability to compete. That is your problem and my problem. That's a problem for the market to be like, no, something you could do prior to the purchase, you can't do anymore. Sony would have to pay for COD on PS Plus. I think their concern was that Microsoft wouldn't allow it to be on PS Plus. Don't you see what Sony is doing? Sony got Phil Spencer numerous times, ad nauseum. We are not taking Call of Duty off of PlayStation, which, I don't know, Mo, a month ago, 2 months ago, you were confident that they would. So you got that one wrong. And now they're also, Sony's putting pressure on Microsoft to make assurances that, no, yeah, we'll let you put Call of Duty on your subscription service in the future. They want those assurances that you're not going to disrupt our ability to leverage this game. If you do that, then we have a problem with this acquisition. And they're not alone in that. They said they did. In the papers, they mad that they can have it on their sub while it's on Microsoft sub. They can't have it, I think is what you meant to say. Remember what happened to People Can Fly with Game Pass? Sony not giving out a major title for free on a cheap subscription service is probably better. Everything on a sub is probably a bad idea. It was more than that, but yes, I got it wrong. And that's my point, Mo, is like, if we're looking at this deal and we're saying, what could this possibly do to the market? Stop cheering for Xbox for just a second. Phil Spencer's not going to take you out to dinner, all right? Just stop thinking about that for a second and just ask the question, what are all the potential ramifications of this deal? And yes, some of those ramifications would affect Sony pretty directly. Sony being disallowed to take one of their most popular third-party titles and being disallowed from putting that onto their subscription model, that's disruptive to the market. That's restricting the market. And they're allowed to say, hey, wait a minute. If you do that, that hurts us. That's not you making a game. That's not you investing in a studio that, you know, that we can't have. That's you buying something away from us. You spent money to stop us from doing something. That's quite literally what antitrust laws are in place for. that the big spender, that the big kahuna can't drop a bunch of money and control what happens in the market. That's literally what these investigations and lawsuits are designed for. Like, that's what they're supposed to do. It's not about tribalistic fanboyism. It's about, okay, you're going to spend $70 billion and then restrict your competitor. You're going to take something away from them that they currently have, that they currently utilize. That's not allowed. You can't control the market through brute force purchasing. That's not good for anybody. No. That's why everybody's looking at it. And I think Microsoft is going to be willing to make as many concessions as needed. They're going to respond to as many objections as needed to get this to go through. Because I think fundamentally, I think they need it. I think they need Blizzard Activision for their future gaming division plans. They need them. They need software. They need it on mobile. They need it on PC. They need it on Sony. They even have talked about they want stuff everywhere. You know, Switch. They probably want some of their stuff on Switch because talk about a market saturation giant. To me, that's the main issue we should be hammering down on. The question is, should Microsoft be able to put COD on Game Pass and not on PS Plus? My answer is that they should be able to. And I think Sony has a right to contest that. Sony has a right to contest that and say, that's you buying something and then restricting the market to hurt us. That's not allowed. Yeah, Switch and Switch-like devices. Sure. Yeah. I think Sony is playing a chess game. They're saying, listen, we want assurances about COD. We want assurances about COD on PS Plus. And they're playing a game where they're getting Microsoft to make assurances before the deal goes through. If this deal didn't have a chance of going through, then Sony wouldn't be saying any of this. They'd be like, this deal's not going to go through. Everything they're saying is to make sure, like, if it does go through, we're protected. Like, that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. Thank you to the handful of people who became new subscribers or new members today. As we're getting ready to transition into a member stream, let's try to take some people with us. Let's see if we can get some more gifteds before we go to lunch with Lono. We take a little lunch break. I eat, we chill. I got segments for you. We did a new one yesterday with new trailers. We're doing another one today. We're going to be looking at games. We're going to be looking at games to pay attention to. Watch list Wednesday. Let's round this number up to 50. I bet you we could. Let's get some people in here. Let's take them hostage. Operation Gray Name or Green Name, or we used to say Operation Joystick. I don't know if I like that one. It's about assurances, or is it about how large their cut of the money is? Well, those things are one and the same, Joel. Those things are one and the same. If you're going to make assurances that Sony is protecting their interests, as they should. Yo, Dark Prophet jumping back in. Thank you so much. Welcome back to Reforge membership. San Francisco will allow. There it is, Dark Prophet. Thank you. Some good tidbits in the Todd Howard interview. Yeah, I mean, it was too long for me to do anything with. I can't even react to it. It's freaking enormous. How do you think Amazon or Microsoft or Walmart did it? I mean, I don't know the history of those companies and acquisitions. I don't. They won't win the PS Plus then, because they don't even believe in subs enough to put their own games on their day and date, but they expect Microsoft to do it for them. Hey, another 10 gifted members, 5 from Fonzo and 5 from Alapark. That's what I want to see, baby. I'm seeing names. Matt Pareto was like, you know what? I would love a gifted. You got one. Rich the Swag Lord. Doomslayer. We call our shots. Doomslayer and Ravenous Poro. Those are names I recognize. Team November. Big Mole. Lazy Nerd. Dan Moss. And Deep B-Man. Baller. And JC. That takes us to 44. 44. We only need 6 more for a nice round 50. If you just got gifted a member, you can enjoy a members-only segment that we're about to do. Also, the members got a sneak peek last night. They got a sneak peek. They got to see what we were talking about today. Just because Microsoft is not putting their... Just because Sony is not putting their titles on their subscription service day and date, that doesn't mean that they don't believe in subscription service model as a revenue source. Like, you're creating a false dichotomy. It's like, well, they either put their games on day and date or they don't believe in subscription model. No, they do believe in subscription model. They've done a lot of work to bolster and grow their subscription model. Premium, trials, Ubisoft, like they've got all these things that they've folded in to their subscription model. They actually want to be competitive. I'm a rich man slag ward. Your name's too long. Look at that. Look at that. It's all messed up. Look at all these names popping up. I love it. I love it. Sony just randomly puts their games on PS Plus. That's my issue. You can argue against day and date, but some games never show up. Yeah, and that to me is fine. That to me is fine. Like that's their property. They're in the business of selling games. I mean, how many times do you go to Amazon and you can't rent the movie for a while? You have to buy it. Okay, they're allowed to do that. They want to try to make money. If they let everybody rent the movie for $4 as soon as it hits the digital streaming services, well, then they're going to lose a ton of money on that because there's all those people that are going to want in there right away. Yeah, some games never show up on Game Pass. Come on, autofocus. Sometimes I have to reset the zoom and it helps. Yo, Steven is gonna gift a membership and Jerry Main gets it. Welcome on in, Jerry Main, taking us to a nice round 45. We just need a 5-bomb. Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna be the 5-bomb to get us to it? Deep B-Man Baller says, thanks for the gifted, Ala Park, and that's a 4-month streak for my man Deep B-Man Baller. Like I just got a Lono selfie. What did Solemn say? Screenshot. I think that they just don't want it on Game Pass. I don't think that they would put it on PS Plus if they could. They want to sell it and still get that money. But I don't know. I don't agree with that. Your members only stuff's heckin' awesome. Thank you. I need more people to believe that. I need more people to believe that and catch that vision and jump in. You know? Make room for the people that can't afford it so when the gifteds go out, you know what I'm saying? Now let me get this redirect set up. Justin Straw hitting a 5-month milestone. Predator 3A hitting a 21-month milestone. And it's a VIP. Welcome back, Predator. Let me set up the redirect. They already hesitate to put certain mainstream titles on PS Plus. Right. But think about it like this, Solemn. Call of Duty's launch structure is changing. So imagine now, instead of Call of Duty coming out once a year, it's coming out every couple of years, which means halfway through that launch window, what's happening? You know what I'm going to say. There is DLC planned next year, year 2 of Modern Warfare 2. There's DLC planned. There's reasons for people to come spend money. And what's a great strategy to use with your subscription funnel? Hey guys, we just put Modern Warfare 2 on PS Plus. Do a double XP weekend. And what rolls out 7 days later? The DLC. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Sony's saying, hey, listen, the rhythm of Call of Duty releasing is changing, and we can leverage that and really help our subscription service. But if Microsoft doesn't let us do it, that's hugely restrictive. Hey, Kylock. Welcome back in, Kylock. My man, UK Gamer, taking care of business. We got Kylock, we got Uncle Brada, we got Cambino, Primo, Unlucky Harry, and Grim Reap Show. Welcome in to Reforge Gaming. A member is a member. There's no more base membership. You know, we're not going to do the trial thing. If you are a member, you get into members-only content, and that pushes us to 50. We asked for 15 members, and we got 50. I'll take it. Lazy Nerd jumping back in on a 5-month streak, and he says, thank you very much, Alapark. Sure, you don't agree. You agree with Sony buying Insomniac and putting Spider-Man away from Xbox. Sony paying for third-party exclusives and restrict Xbox players playing. We just reconnected faster than I ever have. Holy crap. There's going to be a bit of a blip there. I've never had it happen that fast. We literally dropped ingest servers and we reconnected so quickly. There's going to be a follow-up blip. That's the fastest that's ever happened. I've never seen it do that before. You just blipped so hard that you time traveled because I missed an entire word. Wait, what? Yeah, we just switched ingest servers, and that was extremely fast. It's never that fast. It isn't. Weird. I don't think I've ever seen so much misinformation in a single comment. Yeah, the Spider-Man thing is so old and full of misinformation. Yeah, like, you can't do that. That's a false equivalency. Sony buying Insomniac and having Spider-Man is not equivalent to Call of Duty. Like, that's just such a terrible comparison. That's a non-functioning parallel. McGorn McGoogle with 17 months. That's an old school name right there, and it's a VIP. Welcome back, McGorn McGoogle. It just blurred for a second. Was there a follow-up blip? I hope from now on that continues. That was such a fast recovery. Yeah. Microsoft turned down Spider-Man. Maybe consider that. Maybe consider that. When they were shopping around with a Spider-Man, you know, Microsoft said no. Hey, Sony, taking Spider-Man away from Microsoft? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Microsoft turned them down. Like, that's not a comparison. That's a false equivalency. There is no comparison in this deal. There just isn't. There's no comparison. Whether you want to look at Bethesda getting purchased, or Bungie, or the timed exclusivity of Tomb Raider, or Final Fantasy, there is no equivalency to this acquisition. The Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition has no equivalency in the market. There isn't one. That's why every regulator with a brain is looking at it. It wasn't even a blip for me. It was more of if you edit a video into segments, an instant transition, like a single lost frame. I've never seen that happen on YouTube. My hope is that they've upgraded their ingest servers to be faster, so when that happens, it's, you know what I mean? I would pay to debate you, Lono, because I want to understand how the thing Sony is doing isn't market restricted, but having COD on Game Pass would be. I've explained it. Hang on, I gotta do something. That might have been affecting autofocus. I forgot to do the white balancing lock-in. I've already tried to explain this. That Sony and Microsoft both buy companies and have first-party stuff. Sea of Thieves and Spider-Man. Like, they buy a company, and then they're the only place where you can play the game. Okay? Both companies do it. So that's a level playing field. Buying a game that right now Sony makes millions upon millions of dollars on, and restricting what Sony can do with that game, that's market restrictive. Sony has never reached into the ecosystem of Microsoft and been like, ours now. Yeah, it's ours now. You can't make any more money on this. Nothing has that endemic level on Microsoft's ecosystem. Final Fantasy 13 was on Xbox. Right, but Final Fantasy doesn't have an endemic history. There are Bethesda titles that are on PlayStation right now, and there's future versions of them that won't be. Phil Spencer made it pretty clear that, like, Elder Scrolls and future Fallout stuff would be exclusive to Microsoft. No one's going to look at those titles and say, those were so endemic to Sony's ecosystem that that's wrong. You're having a fundamental misunderstanding of the argument if you think Final Fantasy or Spider-Man or any of these titles are equal to Call of Duty. Like, I've got to go to lunch with members. I can't belabor points that I've made 10 times over to people who aren't seeing the false equivalencies that they're making. I've done my best to do that, right? I've done my best to do that, and if you want to come back and debate me another time when the subject comes up, great. This is a pro Sony PlayStation channel. It came up in my feed, so I don't know, and I just clicked. No, I've been very critical of Sony in past videos. I was very critical of some of the things they did with the when they weren't going to give people the free update, and they said that they were on Horizon. There was a handful of other things that I took them to task for. When Sony bumbled the storefront and let everybody know about certain things, and they hurt Summer Game Fest, Sony's absence at Summer Game Fest, the way they handled the release date information of Ragnarok, I criticized them for all that stuff. and if you hang out long enough, I'll end up defending Microsoft. I did it today. Some guy was saying something about Microsoft that wasn't true. I was like, none of that's true. So, and if you want to continue watching me, become a member. We're going to lunch with Lono. I take a break, I eat my lunch, I hang out with the members, and I do a members-only segment. So there's content that we're about to do that you will never see unless you're a member. Now's the perfect time to click join or gift some members. I'm going to spur up the members-only show, and I'll see you guys this afternoon for some Dark Tide gameplay. That will not be members-only, so I'll see you for the second show if you don't come along with us for the members' lunch break. All right? Hey, thanks so much for clicking on this. Another members-only sort of lunch break, lunch with Lono, and we got a new segment for you today in this one. If you missed yesterday, new Trailer Tuesdays. We looked at a bunch of trailers together, and it was hilarious. It was we didn't even intend for it to be funny, and it ended up being very, very funny. And today we'll be doing another one, Watch List Wednesday. I'm going to put games on your radar that people have put on my radar in the Discord. That's a great way to contribute to New Trailer Tuesdays or Watch List Wednesdays, is use our Discord to throw trailers or make game recommendations in there. We're going to put some great games on your radar. I'm going to end the previous stream. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to bring people over who are members. If you're not a member, we'd love to have you join us. I'm going to shut that stream down and bring people over. And we are going to have our